Help me make sure our military members know how much you're appreciated this holiday season. While you're out Christmas shopping or celebrating with family and friends, join me in shaking the hand of a military member and give a heartfelt thank you each and every chance you get. If you happen to see a military member out enjoying a meal, you might consider quietly paying for their meal as a sign of your gratitude for the sacrifices they make for each of us every day, which allows each of us the freedom to celebrate this holiday season in whatever fashion we choose. Thank you from Specialty Truck and Auto.
Are you ready? Dan Fagan and Glen Biegel are here. They're going to tear it up, rip it down, and shoot it straight. Fagan and Biegel in the morning on Hot Talk, KOAN. And now, Fagan and Biegel.
Well, good morning on this festive Christmas morning, or not. It's not Christmas yet, but it's the holiday season.
It's close enough for government work. Yeah, sure. It's Christmas.
What is it? The 18th of December. A week away from Christmas.
A week for today. Somebody said something I thought was funny. Christmas usually isn't on Thursday, like Thanksgiving. I thought. Okay, I don't know if you know this, but statistically speaking, Christmas is on any day of the year.
Well, with leap year, it'd probably be off a little bit.
No, I mean, statistically speaking, it's going to be equally distributed across, maybe not in your lifetime, which, that does give you kind of a sense, though, of people. Because whatever has happened for the last 2 or 3 years, that's normal. That's what usually happens. Christmas hasn't been on a Thursday for the last few years. Therefore,
they forget history.
Christmas is not generally on a Thursday.
They forget history.
Yeah, well, this is the way we work. I mean, whatever's right in front of our face, that's normal. That's what we expect.
That is interesting. How little we remember what actually happens past 3 or 4 years.
I remember in my day, Christmas was on Monday.
And that's why the youth is wasted on the young.
because we know better.
People like us, me, you're so young, man, but
hey, man,
people like me have been around 1,000 years. We remember a few things, and when Brad Keithley says we're going to fall off the cliff in 3 years, you think, oh yeah, 5 or 6, 7 other artists did that song. I remember,
and they were all #1 hits,
right? Right. And everybody believed it. Yeah. So age and experience is good.
I agree.
I'm so disappointed in, not that I've ever had much faith in Sony, but this is where leadership comes in, Glenn. We have a very weak president. We have a president that does not show strength. He does not show, Ronald Reagan, and I think even George Bush after September 11th, there was an air of leadership. There was we're going to take this fight on.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see that in this president. And I think that had we had a president who believed in fighting evil, I don't believe this one does, then Sony would have been less likely to cave to the terrorists.
Or we're evil. Or our wealth is evil. Or our power
right.
is
He
evil.
fights his evil, which is capitalism.
Yeah.
Okay, you're right. He has a different evil than we do. In fact, he actually embraces Islam and sugarcoats it in the evil
and
that it
even
is.
bows to it.
Well, he does. The Saudi
literally embraced it and literally bowed to it.
Yeah, but don't you think that had we had a real strong leader, that Sony would have been less likely to capitulate to the terrorists, because that president would have come out and condemned this move in the harshest of terms, condemned the capitulation to terrorists?
Do I think Sony would have given in? I think it's less likely if they were worried about physical attacks, but they're worried about their reputation. And so, the North Koreans, Sony's worried about their reputation, not about physical attacks. And Sony's North Korea's totally got them against a wall, because these are the most awful people saying horrible things where they think they're in private.
Glenn, but the thing about North Korea's ability to carry out a terrorist threat, with all due respect to my friend Kim Jong-il, he can't buy a big gulp.
I know that, and they know that too. Sony knows that,
Yeah.
So they're acting like, okay, well, this might be a little dangerous, so because it's dangerous, not because our reputation's going to get thrown out the window, which it should.
Right.
So anyway, I don't know, that's my take on it, but that's very interesting that, that it makes a difference who the leader is as to how we respond to terrorist threats. I think that's absolutely true.
We're just a weaker nation now.
Yeah. We don't believe as much in ourselves.
We don't believe, and
race relations is a perfect example of that. It might even be a cause of it.
It started with the election of Barack Obama and his apology tour. If you don't believe in yourself, I can't begin to read that. I'm sorry, I saw the word wrong and then turning an arm.
Something's wrong in the turning an arm. Folks, we're putting out a news bulletin right now.
You're on the wrong internet. Sorry.
Oh,
Dan always logs in.
And there's something wrong in the turning an arm. Okay, both things are probably true.
But we're a weaker nation because of this president. And frankly, we're a weaker nation because of John Boehner and Mitch McConnell not standing up to this flawless president.
Sure.
Weakness permeates our government, Glenn. We're a weaker nation because this Congress has not stood up to the out-of-control judiciary.
Yeah.
All across the board, there are no fighters anymore.
Right. We do not have leadership. And this is what, the Republicans are already playing the prevent defense, trying to figure out how do we not screw up.
Yeah. And
by not screwing up, they're not leading. They really don't. They don't have anything that they're trying to sell. They led when they shut the government down.
Yes.
And when Ted Cruz stood up for 26 hours or whatever it was and said, hey, I'm going to read to you exactly what Obamacare is so that everybody can know.
Yeah.
That's leadership.
Yeah.
And while it's uncomfortable, it's very uncomfortable for people who are in Washington, D.C. to lead.
Right.
Because all they know really is politics. And they don't, they're trying to guess, well, how far can we take the people? And, when you start asking questions like that rather than what's right, what do we know works?
Yeah.
And how do we convince people? The same complaint I had about Lisa Murkowski, the head of the Energy Committee. Here it is. Barack Obama comes out and says, oil and gas kills fish. That's basically what he said.
Yeah.
And I'm going to stop that from happening. And she should have stood up and said, what?
She said the opposite.
Well, she said, yeah, you're right. Okay, it kills fish. Great idea. Thank you, Mr. President.
Yeah.
Really appreciate that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's what leadership is. It's wrong, and I've been out battling this. People like, oh, well, we had a blowout in the Gulf of Mexico. Therefore, there's no world-class fisheries in the Gulf of Mexico.
Yeah.
So I give them the link to the NOAA site, which shows they had record harvests the next year.
Yeah.
And that there is no drop-off in the Gulf of Mexico. And it was all a lie. And, yes, it was 18 days in the middle of our face, right in front of our face, just like the person who said Christmas is never on a Thursday. Or not never, but rarely on a Thursday. We saw the oil spilling into the Gulf. What we didn't realize is like taking a dropper to your bathtub and putting a dropper of oil in a bathtub.
Yeah. That's right.
That is exactly what it's like.
That's right.
And you would ask yourself, well, if you had goldfish in your bathtub, would a dropper of oil in your bathtub kill the fish?
No.
Of course it wouldn't. Would they notice? No.
No.
They wouldn't even notice, and they didn't notice.
I had a leftist friend of mine tell me last night that she believes the Republican Party is perceived as the party of mean. The angry party of mean.
That's me.
Now, I want to ask you about that when we come back. 569-1080, Dan Fagan, Glen Biegel, KOAN, KVNT. Here's our number, 569-1080. It's 614.
Don't just sit there. Give them a call. 569-1080. Join the conversation. KOAN.
After a hard day at work and then shopping for the holidays, the last thing you want to do is slave over a hot stove. Well, don't worry about it. Relief from this hectic time of year is just a jingle away. Call 333-8000 and ring in the holidays with the Sicily Season Greeting Special. 2 large 2-topping pizzas for only $11.99 each. So relax and let Sicily's deliver hot, fresh, delicious pizza, pasta, calzones, wings, and salads right to your door. It's fast, easy, and affordable. Call 333-8000 and ask for the Season's Greeting Special. 2 large 2-topping pizzas for only $11.99 each. For the only 24-hour-a-day delivery in Alaska, call 333-8000 or save 20% by ordering online at SicilysPizza.com. Best ingredients, best pizza, Sicily's. Wishing you and yours a safe and happy holiday season.
If you're ready for the news, there's just one place to go. Check out Ruben'sApron.com. It's after every show, check out Ruben'sApron.com. It's showtime.
It's the time of the year that true Alaskans live for. It's ski season. Grab the kids and the skis and head up to Hilltop Ski Area. Now open 3 p.m. on weekdays and 9 a.m. on weekends. Hilltop Ski Area offers great prices on lift tickets and even offers discounts to students, military, and seniors. Don't know how to ski or want to become a shredder? Sign up today for ski and snowboard lessons. Visit us online at hilltopskiarea.org or call 346-1466. Celebrating our 32nd year of operation, Hilltop Ski Area, providing fun for Alaska youth and their families.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel in the morning. Give him a call, 569-1080. KOAN.
Well, it's 6:17 on this Thursday morning, the 18th of December, 2014. Dan Fagan and Glen Biegel here in the studio with you on KOAN, KVNT. We're streaming live video and audio on danfagan.us. That's danfagan.us. So a very good friend of mine who I respect immensely is a left-of-center gal. And we're talking last night, and she said that the Republican Party is perceived amongst her in her circle, in her world, as the party of mean, selfish. I got mine. I don't care what anybody else has. The hell with everybody else. A bunch of mean sons of bitches.
Mm-hmm.
Selfish.
Well,
and I immediately thought of you. I thought, yeah, that's pretty much Glenn.
That's me. That's exactly right. Well, first of all, this fulfills the requirements for people on the left, in that the answer for anybody they disagree with has to be simple. It has to be complete.
Accusatory,
right, and demean the other person.
Yes.
Right. So that essentially what she's saying is I don't want to address any specific claim that you make. None of them.
So good.
The fact that we are putting tens of millions of people on welfare, that we're denying millions and millions of people jobs, that we're freaking out about doing oil and gas development anywhere because we think it kills fish and we don't have any evidence of that whatsoever. I'm not going to address any claim that you make. I'm going to make this real easy for you. You're mean.
Selfish.
And therefore, I don't really have to deal with you. Now, this is why I'll give you a little deeper answer, though, if I may.
Yes.
First of all, the left has a great deal of fun establishing, claiming, making up the story that conservatives are mean. Right? Putting someone on welfare, paying them to have additional children, making sure those kids don't have a dad, that is mean.
Right.
That is awful. Okay? So that's what the left does, and that's what they want done. That's what continues to happen. But they have a great deal of fun doing this, so this is their hobby. Their hobby, and I would say this is for probably 75% of people on the left, do not believe in left-wing values anymore. They know they don't work. They look at the inner cities. They look at people who are on welfare. Even Bill Clinton came out.
75% of who?
Of people on the left, like Bill Clinton. He came out and he made this video. This is when I realized this. He made this video and said, we know that welfare doesn't work. We know that we're paying people to do the wrong things. We know that we punish them when they do the right things. And we know that we
75% of leftists
do not believe that their solutions will actually fix anything.
Well, what do they
They're
believe
not.
in?
They believe in hating Republicans. That's my new belief. That the vast majority of people, and these are the left-wingers who I know, they don't care whether or not their solutions work. They're not arguing for that anymore. All they care about is that you're an idiot, you're evil, you're awful, and whatever I'm going to do that you don't like, that's exactly what I should do because I know you're evil. That basically is as far as they get. That's what the mean argument is. So I think this covers actually about 75% of people on the left. They're not interested in solutions. They're not interested in engaging conservatives on any level whatsoever, on any intellectual level, any reality level, any historic level. They just want to make a claim that you're bad and I'm just against you as a person, as a movement.
I agree with you that that's their default position when you go to debate them. You're selfish and evil. Why would I even talk to you? I understand that, but I don't know that I can go with you on that they don't believe in their policies anymore.
When you look at welfare and if you sat them down and said, this is what your welfare policies have done. Right, we got 75% of fatherlessness in black communities. Obviously, these are violent sons that we're creating, massive amounts of danger. They don't know how to hold down a job, and they're not educated. Is this what you want, left-wingers? No, absolutely not. That's not what we want. So obviously, they don't agree with their policies.
Well, Glenn, when you're talking about a leftist, a true hardcore leftist, there's just a great degree of blindness there. When you can look at a sonogram that's attached to a microphone inside the mother's womb, and you see the little baby with her little hands, and the boom, 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 and you see it moving.
It'd be much faster than that, by the way. The heart beats about 200 beats a minute.
Whatever.
Pretty fast.
But to look at that and to say in your heart that's not a life, you have an incredible capacity to fool yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So to see the devastation the welfare state has caused on America.
I'm not saying that they will ever look at it. I'm just saying that if they are forced, if they have little things that hold open their eyes and the toothpicks, and they're forced to sit there and accept the reality of what their welfare state has created, the devastation. I'm not saying that they would. I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about whether they can. I'm not talking about whether they should. I'm not talking about whether they will. If they did, and deep in their hearts, I don't believe left-wingers think that their policies work anymore. I don't think they believe. They either think that they don't matter or that they don't work. That's my view.
But if a left-winger can look at a little baby, a life, a clear life, and say that it doesn't matter, you can kill that,
yeah,
they're capable of believing any falsehood.
Oh, I agree. So
why, even though the documentation and the facts and figures overwhelmingly prove that when you redistribute wealth and you incentivize bad decision makers, they look at that and they don't see that because they don't have capability of seeing what's true and what's real.
I agree. I'm not making the argument that they will understand what it is that you're saying.
You said they don't believe in their policies anymore.
I truly, at this point, think that the majority of these people do not actually believe in their policies anymore. That all they do is hate Republicans. They're not looking for their own answers. They're just saying, I oppose you because you're mean. I mean, that essentially is their argument. That's it. Not more complicated than that. Nothing else. Now, some people like Amanda Coyne go a little further and say that I like some left-wing policies, like I like people getting health insurance. And even she, if she was presented with the fact that, okay, well, people who have health insurance still can't afford to go to the doctor. The percentage of people who cannot afford to go to the doctor now, all-time high.
I think Amanda is, of all the left-wingers I know, I think she's most open to truth. I think that because where would she hear any of that?
Yeah.
She doesn't go to Drudge.
Right.
She doesn't go to CNS.com.
I agree that you can debate with people like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let me continue here with some other things. So I think the primary reason why left-wingers are now left-wingers is they just hate Republicans. They're looking for simple answers. Now, it takes a lot of money, by the way, to continue the false narrative that conservatives are mean. And this is what Hollywood is for.
Oh, Hollywood, yeah.
Yeah. This is what George Soros is for.
Yep.
Yeah. So it takes a lot of money, but they have a lot of fun doing it, so they're not all that worried about it. The great thing about saying that conservatives are mean is it argues on the levels that the left loves to argue. Emotional, it's irrational, and so you never actually have to get into any policy discussions because it essentially just dehumanizes the other person. It paints all of their positions in one way. Another thing is it's very effective. A lot of people, because the media has gone out of their way in order to paint conservative values as mean rather than as humanizing, as decent, a lot of people will believe it. So it's very effective for people on the left to say conservatives are mean, and you can't argue against it. You say, well, I'm not mean. Oh, really? Well, what else do you think a mean person would say? Yeah. Well, of course.
Okay, I'm mean. No, you're right, and that's why Left Wing Talk Radio never works anywhere, anytime, any place.
I agree with you.
With any ratings.
Great point.
Because it's just you are this, no, I'm not. Yes, you are, no, you're not.
Now, let me throw at you a couple of things that would be somewhat similar, but these are still rational arguments that I'd be making. They're not totally emotional arguments, but they're simplistic arguments about the Democrats. Democrats are the party of no.
Well, it depends. They're the party of yes when it comes to growing government.
Growing government, special interests, their unions, those kind of things. But for jobs, for development.
When it comes to capitalism.
For capitalism,
yes.
Yeah. They're the party of no. They're the party of dumb.
I don't know. This is an interesting. So, do you call someone who can't see what's obviously in front of them dumb, or do you call them blind?
I don't know.
Because they fancy themselves hyper intellectual.
Oh yeah. No, I agree.
They think they're much smarter than you and I.
I totally agree.
Not even close.
Gruber pointed it out, though.
Exactly.
Yeah, Gruber pointed out, look, we depend on you being stupid, just hating Republicans, not asking any questions, and having a meeting on our side. Yeah. That basically is how we do policy.
Is elitism dumb, or is it a disproportionate amount of self-importance?
I think it is. Elitism is a tough one. It's a core part of the left, and essentially what the purpose of people who educate themselves to that level is to try and figure out how to deny human nature. In other words, if we don't suffer, we will never improve. So suffering, that's human nature, and their complete and total 100% of their efforts are if you suffer, you have done something wrong.
Yeah.
That is not part of the human condition.
If you do not employ sacrifice in your life,
sacrifice,
you will never change.
Another thing, which, I mean, these are all critical parts.
Everyone should have everything they want.
And the thing is that intellectuals have sacrificed so much in their life, going to school. They work hard. Almost all of them work really, really hard. So they're out there doing all the right things. They just think, well, you're a special class of people. I look down on you, and therefore I need to protect you. So how about that? And the party of special interest, but really both parties are at least certain parts of them are parties of special interest. So anyway,
569-1080, 569-1080. That's the number if you'd like to be a part of the broadcast. We are streaming live on danfagan.us, danfagan.us.
So that's what I wrote down, by the way, Dan.
Gotcha. All right.
Dan doesn't like me to write anything down.
No, that's fine. But however it works with you. 569-1080. Stay with us, folks.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel. Give them a call, 569-1080, KOAN.
With KOAN News, I'm Chuck White. A Wasilla resident has died in a plane crash in northwest Montana. 33-year-old Brett Thoft of Wasilla, who was piloting the air taxi he owned, died when the small plane crashed into a hillside near Flathead Lake.
A passenger in the two-seat Piper was severely injured. The National Transportation Safety Board is investigating. San Kenda reports a proposed ordinance in Anchorage to ban commercial marijuana businesses has failed.
Alaska voters already made pot legal during the statewide election, but communities have the option of banning pot businesses, which would leave marijuana users having to grow it themselves. After 4 hours of emotional testimony, the Anchorage Assembly voted 9-2 against the ordinance, much to the relief of would-be business owners planning to cash in.
Finally, fees for activities at state parks will increase January 1st. That's your Hot Talk News update. Local weather is next.
It will be a colder day today with partial sunshine. We'll have a high of 22. Then a partly cloudy night with a low of just 11. Tomorrow, partly sunny, high 24. Clear tomorrow night with a low 14. And a partly sunny day for Saturday with a high 22. Sunday, mostly cloudy skies, high of 26, and Monday, mostly cloudy, high 27. Hot Talk, breaking news, and the latest weather. KOAN, 95.1 FM and 1080 AM.
Best Split Firewood can deliver split firewood to your house today. And if you live in Anchorage, delivery is free. Wait, what did I just say? Delivery is free if you live in Anchorage. Wow, that's cool. Okay, back to the commercial. Best Split Firewood. Call now, 727-5928. That's 727-5928 and get 2 bundles of starter sticks with your order. Hold on, 2 bundles of starter sticks and free delivery in Anchorage? That's way cool. Best Split Firewood will deliver mostly all birch split and ready for your fireplace or wood stove, no matter how much you need. A quarter, half, or full cord. They have the best firewood in the city, and they'll even mix in some spruce if you ask for it. And don't worry if you just need a couple of bundles. Best Split Firewood has them wrapped and ready to go at half of what you would pay anywhere else in the city. Best Split Firewood. Call today for free delivery in Anchorage and 2 bundles of starter sticks. 727-5928. That's 727-5928.
Visit their new location at 2000 East 68th Avenue in Anchorage.
Well, we had a chance recently to share 10 pounds of golden king crab clusters with 4 of our friends from the lower 48. And what a feast it was. It makes me realize that we Alaskans should take more advantage of our wonderful king crab because it's hard to get at any price in the rest of the world. So wouldn't you know, the new Sagayan City Market make it easy for you this week with a sensational price on big golden king crab clusters, legs and claws, only just the good stuff, just $15.99 a pound. Give the family a big holiday treat with golden king crab from New Sagayan City Market. Remember to reserve your standing rib roast for Christmas dinner. Call New Sagayan and get yours reserved because we will sell them all very quickly and you don't want to miss out. You know, New Sagayan City Market make it so easy to send fabulous Alaskan seafood for Christmas at affordable prices. There are 8 great packages to choose from, lots of combinations from $139 to $179. All packing and shipping included. It's overnight delivery and it's all guaranteed. Call New Sagaya's Crab Central 561-5173. New Sagaya Midtown City Market 13th and I.
It's the time of the year that true Alaskans live for. It's ski season. Grab the kids and the skis and head up to Hilltop Ski Area. Now open 3 p.m. on weekdays and 9 a.m. on weekends. Hilltop Ski Area offers great prices on lift tickets and even offers discounts to students, military, and seniors. Don't know how to ski or want to become a shredder? Sign up today for ski and snowboard lessons. Visit us online at hilltopskiarea.org or call 346-1466. Celebrating our 32nd year of operation, Hilltop Ski Area, providing fun for Alaska youth and their families.
When I grow up, I want to be a pro basketball player. An elementary school teacher.
No matter what dream you choose or where you are in life, Country Financial helps you and your family grow your own way.
Or maybe a veterinarian. A mom, a doctor, and president of the United States. Maybe an astronaut or, an Olympic gymnast.
You can grow your own way. We know some dreams take a little longer to achieve, which is why your local Country Financial representative offers helpful advice on everything from auto and home insurance to financial planning, education to retirement, and business insurance too, so that you can continue to grow and dream.
Or maybe an accountant, like my dad.
For more information, visit countryfinancial.com or call 1-866-COUNTRY. Country Financial. Grow your own way.
Do you remember that Beatles song? If the rain comes, they'll run and hide their heads.
You know which one I'm talking about. Well, if that's you and you're inside your home or office, it's time to call Earhart Roofing. Call Earhart Roofing for all your roofing needs. Flat or pitched, large or small, Earhart Roofing will do the job quickly, and they'll do it right. Earhart Roofing, big enough to serve you and still small enough to care. Call 345-5555. That's 345-5555.
Glen Biegel, you have beautiful teeth.
Why, thank you, Dan Fagan. That's because my family and I have gone to Dr. Dan Kiley for years. I get scared at the dentist. Dr. Kiley knows people like you are afraid, so he creates a relaxed atmosphere at his office. People actually like going to the dentist for Dr. Kiley.
I know it's important to have good dental health.
And you look better with good teeth. And Dr. Kiley offers cosmetic dentistry along with general care.
Visit Dr. Dan Kiley at lakeotisdental.com. Call him at 562-9209.
Hot Talk KOAN, man. You're on with Fagan and Biegel.
.636. Good morning. Dan Fagan, Glen Biegel, KOAN, KVNT, broadcasting on those stations. And we're also streaming live video and audio on danfagan.us. danfagan.us. Hope you're having a good Thursday morning. 18th of December. This time next week, Santa Claus will have come down the chimney and left a bunch of presents for us all. Very excited about that.
What are you expecting for Christmas? Are you on the naughty list or the nice list?
I think I'm probably naughty.
You're getting a lot of coal. I think Obama outlawed that.
I know, that's the thing.
You're gonna have to get something else.
Where's Santa gonna get
nuclear waste or something?
No, the bad part is I just bought a new coal stove, so I was hoping for coal.
Seriously?
No.
You bought a coal stove? Oh, no. Well, seriously, with Obama's war on coal, I don't know where Santa's going to get it all for the bad kids.
That's right.
There was something they were talking yesterday, I think it was a man at coin.com, about why not use coal in Fairbanks, because it's cheap. Because you get tons of it.
Talking about the Healy coal plant.
No, it was a different option.
Well, that's the one that she highlighted. It's the second story on her page.
Oh, was it the Healy coal plant they're talking about?
Or the third story on her page. Comment of the day: why not use coal to power Fairbanks? And the guy is talking about the Healy coal plant. Well, the Healy coal plant was a uniquely designed coal plant, and it turned out that the design didn't work, and so it was a complete failure. It was about a $500 million write-off.
But the bottom line is
Fed money.
There's a ton of coal up there.
Oh.
And the answer as to why we don't utilize it, because it is clean burning now, if you properly configure your plant.
Sure. Use a modern plant.
You can't get a permit for a coal plant under this president.
Mm-mm.
So I wonder like the Whitakers of the world who voted for Obama and sung his praise, Bill Walker's chief of staff. I wonder if the people of Fairbanks understand that they could have very cheap energy right now if it wasn't for Jim Whitaker and those of his ilk supporting Barack Obama.
I had a call a long time ago, and it sticks in my mind. It was somebody who called up, and he seemed conservative in every other way, but we got to talking about Fire Island, the wind project.
Yep.
And he said, I support this project regardless of what it costs. I was like, what are you talking about? We don't do anything regardless of what it costs. Are you crazy? So if people had to pay $1,000 for their electricity bill, you'd still support that? Are you nuts? And I actually think a lot of people on the left on this issue are completely nuts. They're so convinced that oil kills everything, even though it provides, I think, 50% still of our nation's energy supplies, maybe even 55%. And gosh, we have a really clean environment. So, although they probably would disagree with that, wouldn't they?
Probably. They don't see reality.
No, they don't.
569-1080, 569-1080. That's the number if you'd like to be a part of the broadcast. 569-1080. Todd.
Hey, good morning.
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 That's Glenn. That's a pretty mean thing to say that you
Thank
would
you.
support that at all costs. I mean, conservatives are mean, like parents are mean, like teachers are mean. I mean, people don't want to hear that life is difficult.
Mm-hmm.
That success requires hard work and good choices. and making a series of good choices.
And sacrifices.
And all those things are difficult. And I think, when you point that out to people, they don't want to hear that. I mean, they want to hear that there's some magical solution to everything. And when you just point out, that life is difficult. They just can't. They want it to be simpler.
Government cheese. That is the easy answer to all of our problems. Government's going to give us healthcare cheese. It's going to give us food stamp cheese. It's going to give us housing cheese. Yeah, so it's an easy answer.
And the other point that you made really well, Glenn, was that they also don't believe that you can learn from the difficulties in life.
Mm-hmm.
They don't understand that competition, losing to competition, or suffering because of bad choices, that they don't think that that's the way people learn, or maybe they want to protect people from learning that way because they probably know in their heart that they learn that way.
Yeah, don't you think that's true, Todd? Because I totally agree. Most every leftist who I've ever talked to, they suffered so much in their lives, and then they say, but you know what? I have to stop that from happening in anyone else's life. And I'm not talking about, horrible, evil, awful suffering. I'm talking about, we're going to have to live off $50 in a food budget for the next month because we're out of money. So let's figure out how to do that, and then we live through that, and we figure it out.
Or here's one. You didn't get at least B's on your math work, so you don't get computer this weekend.
Whoa, you are mean. Holy smokes.
Well, you're capable of B's. You didn't do the work to get B's. There's a consequence.
Absolutely right. A life without consequences contains no wisdom. Those children cannot possibly know what this world has in store for them, either good or bad, if they have not experienced consequences from their actions.
Yep, and I guess those people who read the Bible, I think this might be a lot clearer than it is perhaps for the other group. And I know not all conservatives also are believers or read the Bible, but a lot are, and I think that's part of the reason why we seem to get it. I don't know what the right word is. You said stupid. Perhaps it's just foolish. I don't know.
Yeah, stupid doesn't seem to fit.
No.
Well, no, you say when people read the Bible, they have a better chance of getting this. Why is that?
Well, James, read chapter 1. I mean, it talks about perseverance, and perseverance creates righteousness in a person, and understanding and wisdom. I mean, Proverbs is full of references to difficulties creating wisdom and learning, and so if you don't believe that, then, or you're not exposed to that, then you might not see the benefits of.
Yeah, where would you get that lesson if you didn't get it from there?
Yeah, from your parents.
Yeah.
We all know that's a lot of parents.
But a lot of parents these days, Todd, they're there to be their kids' friends, their best friends.
Yeah. They're trying to keep them from that pain, and they're actually going to cause them more in the future.
Mm-hmm.
Great points, Todd.
Have a good morning, guys.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Well, look, there's just a lot of wisdom, and Todd has really seen it all. Great perspective on life, for sure. And by the way, I didn't mean to call Democrats on the party of no, the party of dumb, the party of special interest. I'm just giving sort of the equivalent to conservatives are the party of mean. So I just want to, even though the party of no actually has an intellectual side, right? The party of mean doesn't have an intellectual side at all. It's just a claim made out of we're righteous, you're not, and so it essentially is a statement of pride. Party of no is a party of experience. Is a statement of experience because, like Bristol Bay, for instance, taking that off the docket. That's the party of no. We do this all over the world, and we do it well, and American companies are the best at it, but we're still going to say no because it makes us feel good, even though it might ruin jobs and lives.
569-1080, Dan Fagan, Glen Biegel. KLBNT.
Relief from this hectic time of year is just a jingle away.
In everything you do, then listen to Getting Down to Business with David Weatherholt. Each week, David gives you the inside scoop on the latest business news and trends, along with tools for keeping your business on track. Getting Down to Business with David Weatherholt, Saturday from 8 to 10 a.m. on Hot Talk, KOAN 95.1 FM and 1080 a.m.
I'll never forget
that moment.
As long as
I live.
My first call ever as a member of the National Guard.
When we got to the armory, they briefed us on the wildfires. They were getting dangerously close to homes.
Helicopters were going up to drop water on the fires. Guards in the unit were preparing for firefighting with local fire crews.
At that moment, I got my first taste of just how important the Guard is to my community.
See how the Guard can be an important part of your life at NationalGuard.com.
Sponsored by the Alaska National Guard, aired by the Alaska Broadcasters Association and this station.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel on Hot Talk KOAN and online at 1080KOAN.com.
.6:47 in the morning on a Thursday. It's the 18th of December, 2014. Rolling right along. Christmas this time next week. Hope you get some goodies. Hopefully Santa Claus is good to you. Our number 569-1080, Dan Fagan, Glen Biegel, broadcasting on KOAN, KVNT, streaming live, danfagan.us. Go to danfagan.us. There'll be an icon you can hit there, boom, and you can actually watch the show live over the internet, or the interweb, as some people call it. So, Glen Biegel, you're mixing it up with some of the ADN.com people, huh? I think it's good that to give credit to Rogoff and Halfinger. I think it is good that they do two things. One, there's no anonymous posting, because then you just get nasty, mean people.
Yeah, it's much, much better.
Oh, so much better.
Being able to address, whoever it is, David this or that, and Ken this or that, and Stephen whoever, and Mike whoever. They're all their actual real-life Facebook. So I'm having a discussion. The people who are seeing their Facebook are seeing my responses to their input.
Right.
And it makes for a much better dialogue, because when I call people out, and I do call people out because I think they have the facts wrong, like the Gulf of Mexico, perfect example. In their opinion, after the Deepwater Horizon, all fish were dead in the Gulf of Mexico and still are. And that's a perfect example of why we cannot have processing in Bristol Bay. Well, it's not true.
Right.
They actually had a record number of fish harvested the very next year after the Deepwater Horizon.
So this was some of the points that people were making in the ADN.com story on Bristol Bay.
Yeah, what they're looking for is a very simple response. Because I said, okay, look, we do oil and gas development in the Gulf of Mexico, 26,000 operating wells. We do oil and gas development here in Cook Inlet.
Right.
We do it well.
Yeah.
And they either make a claim, well, you can't compare those, or, well, hey, buddy, the Deepwater Horizon happened in the Gulf of Mexico, to which I said, why don't you go look at the NOAA fisheries site and find out how much fish were harvested the next year? You're just wrong. You've got to update your data.
Won't it be exciting the day when it comes that the actual reporter will do the research you've done and give both sides of the story in that regard?
Wouldn't that be powerful? Wouldn't that be powerful if in the very same statement where Barack Obama says, I am going to protect this fishery, where they give just the very simple examples, Cook Inlet, which has, it's not a 35 million salmon catch, but we have about 2 or 3 million salmon who come through Cook Inlet, right? And theoretically, according to these guys, could easily be wiped out from some horrible oil and gas spill from one of our wells. Well, it's not true. We do these wells very carefully and very well, and it wouldn't kill the fish anyway.
And it's interesting, Glenn, because, the reporter, whoever it may be, I don't even know who did the story, it doesn't matter. They're all the same. They don't even understand and realize that they're leaving out so much of the critical information to the story, because that's the way they've been trained. That's their worldview that they've adopted. And so when
they think it would be biased. I think this is what you're saying. It would be biased if they brought it up. If they brought up the truth about how many wells are operating in the Gulf of Mexico and that we have oil and gas development in the Cook Inlet, that would be biased. What's not biased is to quote Barack Obama saying, "I am going to protect your fishery by preventing you from having oil and gas development," which is a lie.
Well, I'm sure in Barack Obama's mind that's probably what he believes, but I guess my point is that most journalists today, because they've been trained that environmentalism good, oil companies bad, they don't even look to bolster the point of development, because that's the evil side.
Yeah.
That's the bad side. So they're not even going to even look in that direction.
Right. My car good, your car bad. My plane ride good, your plane ride bad. And when you scratch the surface, by the way, to we're the party of mean, you just get total hypocrisy almost instantaneously. And that the fact is that conservatives give far more of their income to charity than people on the left. At all levels, even amongst poor people. Poor conservatives give far more of their income to charity than even wealthy people who are on the left. So it's not the party of mean. And we're talking about, by the way, a comment that somebody on the left made to you, that in essence, the conversation she has with her left-wing friends is that conservatives are mean. Republicans, selfish and mean. I've got mine. I don't have mine. I don't know what she's talking about. I don't have mine, and I don't want somebody else's. And I don't want my kids to take what's somebody else's.
Well, the point was basically that as long as conservatives have their house and their roof over their head and they can feed themselves and they got their jobs, the hell with the rest of the world. That's the way many of the left view those in the conservative movement.
Yeah. I get, see, and what they've done is they've removed, it's so critical, by the way, to remove religion from the United States. Because the way that the country was founded, government's job was not to take care of the lowly. That was our individual jobs. That was our community centers' jobs. That was our local churches. That was our local, government's job. It wasn't the federal government's job. So they essentially have written all that off so that it doesn't even exist. Because I could say, well, actually, Salvation Army and the Catholic Social Services here in town actually feed more people than all the government services put together.
But
now,
they get government money.
They cost 1/10 the amount of what the government services do. But they also get actually a majority of food that goes into Catholic Social Services comes from business.
Oh, is that right?
Oh, yeah.
So what percentage of Catholic Social Services revenue comes from the government, do you know?
No, I don't.
Is it a significant amount?
I don't know.
Yeah. What do you think about the government supporting an organization like that?
I think that it's a very rational approach. The level of brokenness we have in our system. What you could possibly do is give an expensive bureaucrat who really isn't going to fix anybody's life the responsibility to interact with people who need their lives fixed. So I don't know. I don't know what to make of it. For the most part, the vast majority of money that flows into poor people's hands is in the form of federal food stamps, the SNAP program, things like that.
Basically a credit card.
It's a credit card. Healthcare.
It used to be actual stamps.
Yeah, that's right.
But they were afraid that it was a stigma for the client, as they call them.
That's right.
So now they just give them a credit card, and you can't tell.
So there's a lot of money there. Another one, although that's not even anywhere near as big. Healthcare actually is the biggest amount of welfare, and that used to be done through charity care. But we have a lot more people because our healthcare system is so expensive because the costs are just spiraling completely out of control. That's more and more difficult to do. So I don't really have answers to these kinds of problems. You know, the real answer to it is we don't have a healthcare system that's responsive to the private sector at all. It essentially is a service sector for the public sector, and the private sector rides along. And the last one is rental assistance, which, you know, if you didn't have rental assistance, you know what you'd do? You'd get a job. I mean, quite literally, we'd have to have the Kinnickarn Bridge, and you'd have to have much cheaper places to live. But
this poor little girl, what was her name? She left. She worked at Channel 2, and
Charlo Green?
No. I'm telling you, it's the worst story I've ever seen. She focused on this guy who didn't have a job, and he had rental assistant. Okay. And the people at AHFC gave him the check every month, said, okay, you got a 2-bedroom apartment, you live by yourself, we need to move you to a 1-bedroom apartment. And he didn't know what he was going to do with his drums. And she literally made him look sympathetic, as though the government was oppressing him because they would not give him enough money for a 2-bedroom apartment. And she showed the drums. And he's like, this is my life, man. I love my drums. And I'm telling you, Glenn, we roasted this poor little reporter on our old show.
Yeah.
And it got to the point where even, I heard that she was crying in the newsroom. But, I mean, come on, man.
Does she understand what she did is wrong? No. That money has to be taken from someone else, and this man's dignity is actually on the line at some point.
That's my point. The way she's been trained, it's perfectly understandable.
Yeah.
Government helping people is always a good thing. Always. Always.
Yeah, that's a definitional part of being on the left. If you do not believe government doing stuff is either better than the private sector or is always good for the people who you're doing it for, then you are moving toward being a conservative and part of the mean party. Welcome.
Mean, selfish party.
The mean, selfish party.
Yeah. No, it was so funny. This guy, he just wanted to play.
That is embarrassing, by the way. I can't even believe
his drums and his Xbox.
Me too.
And he said, dude, I got my stereo and my drums, and I can't fit all this into one bedroom. You can see how crowded it is now. And, he didn't want to work because he was disabled. He had, when he's walking around, he's playing the drums.
Yeah.
You can't say I'm too disabled to work and then sit there and go, right?
Give us a rim shot on that. I'm disabled.
So amazing. This story was worse than, but it was almost as bad as that one that older reporter on Channel 11 did on the free lunches and the free dinners. Remember that?
Yeah.
We played that.
That was embarrassing.
That was pretty bad. And good news is no one has to pay. It's free. That's the good news.
Yeah, you talk about miseducating people. I mean, can you imagine how damaging just that one line, that somebody would think that it's true, that no one has to pay, either with their dignity, which a lot of people are paying with that, or actually have to pay for the food and the damage that's done to our society.
569-1080, that's our telephone number. Glen Biegel, Dan Fagan, here on KOAN, KVNT, 659. Glen Biegel, Dan Fagan, here on KOAN, KVNT, 659.
Have you ever wondered what it would be like to never be asked, what would you like for Christmas? And even if you did get asked, you know you wouldn't get it. For most teen youth in the foster system, this is a sad reality. But this year, you can change all that. This holiday season, you can make a difference with Pump Up the Kids. Alaska Integrated Media and this station have once again teamed up with the Alaska Center for Families and the Office of Children's Services for the 5th annual Pump Up the Kids. Did you know that we have hundreds of foster care kids who are in need? Kids who won't have much of a Christmas unless you help. This year, make a holiday wish come true for a local teen youth foster child by adopting a wish list. Go to alaskaim.com and click on the Pump Up the Kids logo to register. We'll contact you and get you a wish list. Or simply make a donation.
Hot talk all day. Hot talk every day. 95.1 FM, 1080 AM. KOAN, Anchorage.
Fox News Radio. I'm Dave Anthony. He smiled, his face full of a scruffy beard. Dzhokhar Tsarnaev in court for the first time since the accused Boston Marathon bomber was formally charged last year. Fox News Radio's Tanya J. Powers on the case live.
More than a dozen bombing survivors and their family members watched Tsarnaev being led into the courtroom wearing a black sweater and gray pants, looking much like his mugshot with the addition of that beard. He smiled at his attorneys, and one patted him on the arm during the proceedings, which is the final pre-trial conference before his trial starts next month. Tsarnaev has pleaded not guilty to 30 federal charges. He's accused of killing 3 and hurting hundreds more in the April 2013 bombings at the marathon finish line, Dave.
Tanya, former President Carter is praising President Obama for his policy shift reestablishing long-broken relations with Cuba, though Democrats and Republicans in Congress are critical, saying it will only help Cuba's oppressive regime. What do Cubans think? Let's ask Fox's Steve Harrigan. He's live in Havana.
Dave, we've been hearing 2 different emotions from the Cubans we've been speaking to on the street here in Havana. One is joy and hope about what could be coming down the road, but also a lot of surprise and shock. These talks, after all, were in secret for the past 18 months with some help from the Vatican. So Cubans here were surprised to see Raul Castro on TV praising the release of 3 Cuban heroes, we called them spies, but also a remarkably different tone about the U.S. president, one of real respect, something most Cubans on this island have not heard before. The real question is what effect this will have on their pocketbooks. In the short term, it should ease travel, imports, and exports, but will that effect on the Cuban economy lead to more openness or prop off the current regime? That remains to be seen. Dave?
Steve, thank you. A woman's in custody in California on suspicion of drug driving the morning after police say she ran a red light in Redondo Beach, went into a crosswalk, killing 3 pedestrians. On Wall Street, another big rally. The Dow's up 215 points. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
And now, a Golf Miss Carol brought to you by Golfsmith.
On the 12th day of golf, Miss my Golfsmith gave to me 12 Pro V1s, 11 Under Armour's, 10 Golf Tech Lessons, 9 Nike pants, 8 Bertha Iron, 7 Golfsmith gift card, 6 Garmin watches, 5 Iron 2.
Come celebrate Golfmas, happening right now only at Golfsmith.
2 Cleveland wedges and a tap-in birdie on a par 3.
Golfsmith, anything for golf.
America was built by people with a few dollars and a dream. And while many don't know it, there's one path to success that still only requires a dream and about $10. That's right. If your dream is to start or grow your business, something as simple as the right business card could make all the difference. And today at Vistaprint.com, you can get 500 full-color business cards for only $9.99. That's right, only $9.99. Just go to Vistaprint.com and enter promo code 1818 at checkout. That's Vistaprint.com, promo code 1818.
Russia's
We'll pay you to feel good. We'll pay you to look good. We'll pay you to get treated like the spectacular human being you are. Sound reasonable? When you join us at Allure Day Spa and Hair Design for any service, we give you loyalty reward points to use on any of our products. You get a massage, you feel great, and we give you points to use on products. You have a beauty day, hair, facial, nails. You look wow. And we give you points to spend on products. You come in for waxing, points for products. It's our way of saying thank you for being a client. If you've never been to Allure Day Spa, here's what you'll like. Allure was voted one of the top 5 salons in America, and it's for everyone. If you've never been to Allure, please come by and take a tour to see why people say, I should have stopped in sooner. Once you get to know us, we think you'll love us. Of course, you'll find us on the web, but more importantly, you can find Allure Day Spa and Hair Design downtown, corner of 5th and B.
Hanukkah, the Festival of Lights. Join us for Cirque de Hanukkah, featuring an incredible acrobatic display by the Chicago Boys acrobatic team, as seen on America's Got Talent. Enjoy latkes, donuts, Israeli falafel, and let the kids have a blast with Meltdown, a new multiplayer Hanukkah spinning game. Sunday, December 21st, 5 p.m. at the Egan Center. All families welcome. Tickets at the door or online at alaskajewishcampus.org. Happy Hanukkah to all.
When I grow up, I want to be a pro basketball player. An elementary school teacher.
No matter what dream you choose or where you are in life, Country Financial helps you and your family grow your own way.
Or maybe a veterinarian. A mom, a doctor, and president of the United States. Maybe an astronaut or, an Olympic gymnast.
You can go your own way. We know some dreams take a little longer to achieve.
which is why your local country financial representative offers helpful advice on everything from auto and home insurance to financial planning, education to retirement, and business insurance too, so that you can continue to grow and dream.
Or maybe an accountant, like my dad.
For more information, visit countryfinancial.com or call 1-866-COUNTRY. Country Financial. Grow your own way.
Here's my good friend, Keith Montronock.
Automotive repairs can be frustrating. Let me help. Call 349-1637. I have been in business for nearly 20 years at the same location. Specialty Truck and Auto is in South Anchorage behind the Long Branch Saloon where Diamond becomes Abbott. I have 6 ASE certified technicians working from 7 a.m. until 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. I have a voucher for any of the 6 Alaska Laser Wash locations for each customer. If you schedule ahead and need a ride when you drop your vehicle off, I may be able to help. Call Specialty Truck and Auto, 349-1637.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel in the morning. Give them a call, 569-1080.
6 minutes past 7 o'clock on this Thursday morning. It's the 18th of December. Good morning to you. Dan Fagan, Glen Biegel here on KOAN, KVNT. Streaming danfagan.us, video and audio, or number 569-1080. Well, the more I learn about this Ambler Road project, Glenn, that our governor took out of the capital budget, the more I realize this is a must-have. It's just going to explode the growth of the mining industry now west of the Dalton Highway in that area up there. But I want to read to you Dermot Cole, who I think is actually the single. Well, I'm going to temper my remarks. I've never read a single story or column. I don't know what he is, if he's a reporter or a columnist, whatever he is, that did not cause me to be outraged.
And by Dermot Cole.
Dermot Cole. I just think the guy, if you're a capitalist, if you believe Alaska's future is dependent upon developing her resources, if you believe the answer to rural Alaska is jobs, then Dermot Cole is the number one enemy of that agenda, in my opinion. That's my opinion. But he's writing on the Ambler Road project. Sparks intense debate, you know.
Sure.
He quotes Julie Roberts Hyslop, who's vice president of the Tanana Chiefs Conference. And here's what she says about the idea of mining in rural Alaska, which is the salvation of rural Alaska. You and I agree on that.
Yeah. It's one of their only shots to actually have an economy.
They're coming into our land, tearing up our land, and leaving what? They take the dollar with them. When is the government going to start listening to our voice in what we want? Not what they want, but what we want.
Red dog mine. How does this woman not know about red dog mine? I mean, honestly, it's not that complicated. This is a part of our state. It's a mine that's been there for 30 years. They don't leave with the dollar. The dollar stays. This is one of the great things about mining and why it's so different than oil and gas development. A huge amount of the profits of mining are spent in generating the ore and spent in the employees who are almost all local.
Listen to what Irene Henry says. She's another.
I'm going to say something you mean, by the way, after you're done here.
And she's another Alaska Native leader. She says she was accompanied by her 3 grandchildren, Jessica, Flora, and Megan, who held signs with images and drawings about the importance of fish, game, berries, open spaces, and Native culture. She said the road and the development of a mining district would lead to irreversible destruction. Ida Ross of Kobach said she now needs an inhaler. But if the road opens, the pollution will be worse and the native way of life will be destroyed.
Can't, no. This is what comes to my mind in the dark hours whenever I read stories like this. I want nothing more after I read a story like that than for these people who make these outrageous arguments to live exactly as they have suggested. And then they can suffer with it. Why should we continuously overfund the bush if they don't want jobs, if they don't want a solution? And in the dark hours of the day, I say, well, if that's the kind of life they want to have, then they can have it.
But let's look at it.
You don't get any subsidies.
Let's look at it from their perspective. You and I will both acknowledge that rural Alaska right now, Bush, Alaska, is an absolute disaster when it comes to alcoholism, suicide rates among young people, domestic violence.
It's dying.
It is a dying culture. It is a dead culture. It is a miserable culture. So you and I agree on that.
Mm-hmm.
They know that. Alaska Natives know that. But what they do, Glenn, where that you would blame socialism and the government coming in and making the male obsolete, they blame industry. They blame oil companies. They blame mining companies. Because the government's giving them cash. The government's allowing them to get their snow machines and heat their homes and get some plumbing. And so they don't see the government as the problem because the government's feeding them and allowing them to eat Doritos and have whatever they want.
Doritos.
I love Doritos. Cool Ranch is the best. But the bottom line is, can you see why they wouldn't run first to the government and say that you're the problem, which it is? Because in the short term, in their mind, it's like the crack addict who won't stop using crack because someone keeps giving him money to buy the crack. He's not going to blame the person giving him the money for the crack.
Yeah. No, the only solution is, and I've said this for years now, and I realize that it's a very simplistic view of things. All of politics resolves itself into two questions: who's going to stop us, and when are they going to do it? Obviously, we can't continue to fund the bush as it is. If there are no jobs out there, they will continue to die, and eventually there won't be a bush. So I guess the problem will resolve itself. If the one thing that would be nice to get a message to this lady, who is part of the Tanana Chiefs Council, your only chance to save your communities and as much of your way of life as you can is to partner with us, the mean conservatives. That's all you can do. Because there is no other solution. Eventually, we will run out of money. Eventually, we will be stopped either by China or by creditors or by whatever. We will eventually not be able to continue to fund your communities to the level at which you do not have to have a job. That will at some day come to an end, and your communities will either die, at which point you will not have anything like the level of subsistence and lifestyle and culture that you currently have. Or you'll partner with us.
Doesn't what you suggest take tremendous amount of power away from Irene Henry?
I don't think so.
Well, sure it does, Glenn, because...
Don't you think that their Tanana Chiefs Council will continue on and that they would still be the titular head of everything and everybody would come to them?
It's the same reason that if you convince Americans that we're not a nation of racists, it takes tremendous power away from Al Sharpton. As long as you got a boogeyman, these people remain in power. But once the masses understand that you can have a job, you don't have to rely on the government. You don't have to rely on the Tanana Chiefs fighting for more free stuff for you. You can go out and get your own stuff.
You're going to be paid $100,000 in order working in a mine.
And so will your son and your grandson and your great-grandson. Doesn't that minimize the power of people like her and others who say you are a victim?
But Jesse Jackson has literally no authority whatsoever other than what he's granted. These people do have governmental authority. They do have organizational authority. So she still will retain whatever power.
You know the number one visitor to the White House has been since Obama's been president?
Sharpton, right?
It's a lot of authority. 714. Number one visitor to the White House has been since Obama's been president?
Sharpton, right?
It's a lot of authority. 714.
Don't just sit there. Give them a call. 569-1080. Join the conversation. KOAN.
If you're ready for the movies, there's just one place to go. Check out moviesacre.com.
Cycle mark in our test facility, and it's still going strong. In fact, we're so confident in its reliability, Amana offers a lifetime unit replacement limited warranty to the original registered homeowner if the heat exchanger ever fails for as long as they own the home. For information on the Millionaire warranty, contact Connect Heating LLC, your authorized Amana dealer. Amana lasts and lasts and lasts. Your local Amana experts are Connect Heating LLC. Stay warm, shop smart, shop local. Choose the Amana experts right here in the Mat-Su. Look at the mountaintops. We know what's coming. The time to plan for your warm and comfortable winter is now. Visit ConnectHeating.com. That's ConnectHeating.com.
From New Sagaya in City Market. Remember to reserve your standing rib roast for Christmas dinner. Call New Sagaya and get yours reserved because we will sell them all very quickly and you don't want to miss out. You know, New Sagaya and City Market make it so easy to send fabulous Alaskan seafood for Christmas at affordable prices. There are 8 great packages to choose from, lots of combinations from $139 to $179. All packing and shipping included. It's overnight delivery and it's all guaranteed. Call New Sagaya's Crab Central 561-5173. New Sagaya, Midtown, City Market, 13th and I.
Are you unsure about how to use the health insurance marketplace at healthcare.gov? I was, until I went to a free educational session presented by a United Way navigator. I got questions about the Affordable Care Act answered, learned about options for coverage, how to use the online marketplace, and got assistance with enrollment. Now I'm signed up for the healthcare coverage I need. To hear more about these free sessions, call 211 or 1-800-478-2221.
Hot Talk KOAN, man. You're on with Fagan and Biegel. 1080KOAN.com.
$717, Dan Fagan, Glen Biegel, KOAN, KVNT. Glad you're listening. 569-1080. Talking about this Ambler Road project and what a big deal it would be to the region near northern Alaska, west of the Dalton Highway. Just be huge. And, you know, of course, Dermot Cole, who seems to be anti-development in a real rabid way, writes a column/story on it. I never know what his deal is, whether he's a columnist.
What's the difference between the two?
Well, a columnist is someone who gives you their opinion. A reporter is someone who's supposed to present both sides and, you know, we report, you decide kind of thing.
Yeah, but, I mean, they covered Obama's declaration that we had to do, you know, we couldn't do offshore, you know, but they didn't give it the other side.
Well, most reporters have a worldview that prohibits them from giving the other side of the story.
So is there like a way to tell, okay, well, this is a news story, and then this is an opinion piece? Because
well, if there was a reporter that worked for the Anchorage or Alaska Dispatch News that embraced both worldviews, that would report both sides, they'd stand like a sore thumb.
Oh, that'd be nice.
Yeah,
I thought Nathaniel Hertz might do it.
He was close, but yeah, he was close. He was pretty close.
Yeah.
So here's some of the comments. You know, Mark Butler, who, by the way, is, I think now he's manager at Community Council Centers. He used to be the spokesperson for the health department in Anchorage. Can you imagine? He's a lifelong government bureaucrat. He says no money in the state budget for this project. Eugene Anderson writes, as I said many times, ROAD, and he puts it in acronym form, ROAD, is an acronym for roll over and destroy. Look what roads have done in the Amazon rainforest.
Well, they did pretty well for my neighborhood. Gosh, I don't know. I wonder if he lives on a road. This is my question for people on the left always is, there is this complete and total element of hypocrisy.
Yeah.
That runs just devastatingly through all their arguments.
Right.
My plane rides are fine, your plane rides are bad. My house is good, your house is bad. My road is good, your road is bad.
Here's what Charlotte Tooper says. Alaska should not grow. We have survived without oil and mines. We were stronger, healthier, and held wealthy spirits These companies want to destroy the native land for $1 million. I don't know anyone else, but to me it's I don't know about anybody else, but to me it's priceless. No one in their right mind would want to give up something like this for a couple of jobs that wouldn't even be handed to them.
Now, what do you think he does for a living?
What's Charlie is her name.
What do you think she does for a living?
It says here, Elfie Cochran Charter School. So she's in school.
Oh, maybe she's a teacher.
It could be.
Okay, so she's a government bureaucrat, and she just has not put she hasn't put the numbers together.
Yeah.
If we don't have gas and oil and mining, you don't have a job. You literally don't have anything to do. You're all your money, and she just never put that together.
Mike Milligan, mining does not produce the same revenue to the state other extraction industries do. Governor Walker would do well to put mine revenues in front of Alaska legislatures before any of this stuff comes up for discussion.
So there again, it's all about how much money does the state of Alaska get?
Not jobs.
Not jobs. And I'll say it again, the great thing about mining, or one of the great things about mining, is the vast amounts of wealth that's transferred to the workers who are at the mine, as Kotzebue has found out. Red Dog Mine. I don't know. At some point, it's like you say, Dan, the people who are arguing against you, they just simply they're not listening to any reasonable arguments at all.
It's very difficult to reason with them.
Yeah. And they have, years and years of fear and of indoctrination and, looking at all of the worst of what happens, because bad things happen, here and there. But when you sew together just a few incidents of the bad things that happen, like Mount Polly is a great example of this. Mount Polly was a bad thing that happened. A bunch of trees got blown over. The fish are fine. It did not destroy the fish. There will be zero effect on any fish. I think they found 2 fish died, but that's because they got hit by this wave of water.
May they rest in peace.
May they rest in peace. But here's my guess as to what the left did about that is they looked at the first 2 days of releases on it and said, oh my God, look at how awful this is, and then never updated themselves later to find out, oh, well, wait, it actually all that was just dirt. It wasn't really, it wasn't really toxic materials that they were storing in this dam. It was just dirt. And no fish are actually going to die, and it didn't create an environmental disaster. That they saw the headline that the left wanted them to see, and then when the left stopped playing all the stories on it, they never updated themselves. That Mount Polly, while it was stupidity, and we would never do mines like that here in the United States, it still didn't kill all the fish. Even the worst case scenario for this mine didn't kill all the fish, or any fish, other than 2.
You said it so well yesterday, and I guess I don't know that I've even thought of it in these terms, but what has been indoctrinated into the Alaska Native community in our state is their culture is being eroded and destroyed by the mining and oil industry, and that's just not true. It's big government. That when you go into a culture and you say to that culture, just like Lyndon B. Johnson did with his war on poverty to the African American culture in the inner cities, the male is no longer needed. There's no quicker road to the destruction of a culture when you remove the relevance of the male. John Binkley, who was a former state senator, ran for governor, great individual, told me that when he represented Western Alaska, that's what he began to realize very quickly, that the problems with the culture out there is that the male feels as though he is not needed, and he's right. The male is right. That's why suicide rates among Alaska natives between 17 and 25 is off the chart.
Mm-hmm. Alcoholism, spouse abuse. It's really hard because, to me, men, we want to be kings. We want a kingdom. We want to be rulers. We want to be lawgivers. We want to be taken seriously. We want a kingdom, and that's really the way every man. When you take everything else away, that is the way he guides his life. When he's a decent person,
Yeah.
That's what we want in the essence of what we want. And we want a queen, and we want her to have a crown, and we want her to be in a tower. I mean, all these metaphors that you think about. But when you take away the ability for men to be lawgivers, because nobody needs you anymore, why would we tie you to your children? We can get a welfare check. We don't want you. And if I marry you, and then you do become a lawgiver, and you do become a ruler, well, then I lose my welfare check. So then they can't get married to the guy, so he doesn't have a purpose. It's a tragedy.
And it's frustrating that people can't see that the government has undermined that idea of what a man is supposed to be.
You remember conservatives are mean, Dan. They never have to get past that. They're not going to engage you on the intellectual and honest level of, we have created a monster here. We are destroying people's lives by the tens of thousands. We're destroying families. We're destroying their futures. We're destroying their education. Because if you don't have good discipline in the home, if you don't have a stable structure in the home, you know how much harder it is to get a decent education? Yeah. It's almost impossible.
You know, you hear these stories, Glenn, of women who start to have affairs with married men. And they are operating under the premise that the married man will eventually leave the wife and come to her. They never do. It's ridiculous. All their friends tell them he's never going to leave her. You know, you've seen 100 movies about this concept. And it's that kind of blindness that woman who's hoping that she can rip this guy away from his wife and his family, and he'll sleep with her. But, you know, the idea that he'll just leave, that blindness. But that's the kind of blindness you see, I think, in this situation that we're talking about. How can you not see? It's the government. It's the big government people who are coming in here and trying to take away all the consequences to your bad decisions and bring you comfort in exchange for freedom. How can you not see that?
Well, it's an important message, and I think we've just started sort of putting the pieces together about what went wrong. And it wasn't easy, by the way, to actually come to grips with the fact that white people were ruining, not because they wanted to, not because they were mean, not because of anything else other than modern society and native culture, which is a very inefficient culture, which is a nomadic culture, a Stone Age culture. Those two things really are not compatible. Once you set a permanent building, a permanent structure, that culture is going to change. Once you put all of the niceties of modern technology in, that culture is going to change because you've become so efficient at getting food, it only takes 2 weeks of the year to get all your food. What do you do for the other 50 weeks of the year? I don't know. I guess we better get a job. Some of them have moved on and engaged modern culture in that way, and a lot of people, as people with the Sambler Road, are like, and so they've displaced the idea that it's the efficiencies of modern culture are at war with their culture.
The job has become the enemy.
And the job has become the enemy. And in some ways, that's true, but in the real ways, it's not true. And this is why it's true. The job for these people allows people to have the choice of whether or not they want to live subsistence. And many people who get jobs don't. Many people do. I mean, you look at Kotzebue as a perfect example. A lot of people there take time off to go get their subsistence hunt done.
Who work at the Red Dog Mine.
Work at the Red Dog Mine. In many ways, though, it's not an accurate reflection because most people are not going to go back to the subsistence way of life and a nomadic lifestyle and get rid of all the buildings and go and burn wood and whatever it is, all the things that they would have done in the past. They want a modern lifestyle, and so the only way to keep as much of your culture as you can and keep really the vibrant parts of it, and this is what I think people like this are missing. The vibrant parts of your culture were not the truly inefficient parts, the parts where a lot of people would die because it was such a cold winter, or there was too much snow, or we couldn't find the caribou, or that kind of stuff. That was a part of your culture. It no longer needs to be. Having a job, though, allows you to keep as much of your culture as you can and keep it in comfort, that's the best of both worlds in the ideal situation.
569-1080, that's the number, 569-1080, current time 7:29. 569-1080, current time 7:29.
And now, the Fox News Business Report, brought to you by Mercedes-Benz of Anchorage. The best or nothing.
The Fox Business Network stocks remained sharply higher, extending yesterday's rally after the Federal Reserve indicated it was in no rush to raise interest rates. Energy stocks are leading the charge for a second day as oil rises for a third. Saudi Arabia's oil minister says the recent sell-off in crude is temporary. At around 11 a.m. Eastern, the Dow Industrials are up 228 points. Oracle is leading the S&P 500 tech sector to its biggest gain in 2 years. Shares are soaring after the software giant's quarterly results topped expectations. It's Oracle's first report since co-founder Larry Ellison stepped down from the company as CEO. And investors are looking over another round of economic reports today. Initial jobless claims fell by 6,000 last week to 289,000, a sign of continuing strength in the labor market. Leading indicators for November came in stronger than expected, indicating the U.S. economy is likely to expand at a fairly strong pace in the next few months. With the Fox Business Report, I'm Jolene Kent.
This holiday season, give the most eternal, unique gift of the year. Name a star after someone. I'm Rocky Moselle with International Star Registry. For $54 and a call to 800-282-3333 or visit starregistry.com, we'll name a star after anyone on your gift list. The star name will be recorded in book form in the U.S. Copyright Office, and we will send an incredible personalized gift package. Call the Star Registry, 800-282-3333 or visit starregistry.com for the gift that shines forever.
With KOAN News, I'm Chuck White. A second teen has now been charged in the revenge killing of a Palmer man in March. 16-year-old Ethan Agason reportedly has been charged in the death of 45-year-old Frank Bushra, who investigators say was shot and pushed off an overlook along the Glen Highway. Police earlier charged 17-year-old Jacob Allen Dvorak, who they believe pulled the trigger. Reports were it was Dvorak who said it was revenge for the alleged sexual assault of a teenage girl, a story which has been disputed by others. A Soldotna man will spend 16 months in prison and pay $10,000 in fines for tax evasion. The U.S. Attorney's Office says 60-year-old James Back claimed his income was zero when it was actually in 6 figures, and also didn't file returns between 2009 and 2012. Back apparently had plans of his own, as he allegedly purchased more than $400,000 in gold and silver bullion during that time. That's your Hot Talk News update.
It'll be a colder day today with partial sunshine. We'll have a high of 22, then a partly cloudy night with a low of just 11. Tomorrow, partly sunny, high 24. Clear tomorrow night with a low 14, and a partly sunny day for Saturday with a high 22. Sunday, mostly cloudy skies, high of 26, and Monday, mostly cloudy, high 27. Hot Talk, breaking news, and the latest weather. KOAN, 95.1 FM and 1080 AM.
You know, after a hard day at work and then shopping for the holidays, the last thing you want to do is slave over a hot stove. Well, don't worry about it. Relief from this hectic time of year is just a jingle away. Call 333-8000 and ring in the holidays with the Sicily Season Greeting Special. 2 large 2-topping pizzas for only $11.99 each. So relax and let Sicily's deliver hot, fresh, delicious pizza, pasta, calzones, wings, and salads right to your door. It's fast, easy, and affordable. Call 333-8000 and ask for the Season's Greeting Special. 2 large 2-topping pizzas for only $11.99 each. For the only 24-hour-a-day delivery in Alaska, call 333-8000 or save 20% by ordering online at SicilysPizza.com. Best ingredients, best pizza, Sicily's. Wishing you and yours a safe and happy holiday season.
When I grow up, I want to be a pro basketball player. An elementary school teacher.
No matter what dream you choose or where you are in life, Country Financial helps you and your family grow your own way.
Or maybe a veterinarian. A mom, a doctor, and president of the United States. Maybe an astronaut or, an Olympic gymnast.
You can go your own way. We know some dreams take a little longer to achieve, which is why your local Country Financial representative offers helpful advice on everything. From auto and home insurance to financial planning, education to retirement, and business insurance too, so that you can continue to grow and dream.
Or maybe an accountant, like my dad.
For more information, visit countryfinancial.com or call 1-866-COUNTRY. Country Financial. Grow your own way.
Do you remember that Beatles song? If the rain comes, they'll run and hide their heads. You know which one I'm talking about. Well, if that's you and you're inside your home or office, it's time to call Earhart Roofing. Call Earhart Roofing for all your roofing needs. Flat or pitched, large or small, Earhart Roofing will do the job quickly, and they'll do it right. Earhart Roofing, big enough to serve you and still small enough to care. Call 345-5555. That's 345-5555.
Glen Biegel, you have beautiful teeth.
Why, thank you, Dan Fagan. That's because my family and I have gone to Dr. Dan Kiley for years.
I get scared at the dentist.
Dr. Kiley knows people like you are afraid, so he creates a relaxed atmosphere at his office. People actually like going to the dentist for Dr. Kiley.
I know it's important to have good dental health.
And you look better with good teeth. And Dr. Kiley offers cosmetic dentistry along with general care.
Visit Dr. Dan Kiley at lakeotisdental.com. Call him at 562-9209.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel on Hot Talk KOAN and online at 1080KOAN.com.
7:36 on a Thursday. Good morning to you, Dan Fagan, Glen Biegel on KOAN, KVNT. Our number 569-1080. You need a mechanic? We all do. Keith Montanaka is a mechanic you can trust. He has a huge staff, all of them very qualified, very knowledgeable, up to date on all of the new technology available to auto mechanics. Keith Montanok, most of all, though, is trustworthy, and that's really what you need most, isn't it? Knowing you're not going to be taken advantage of, knowing that the mechanic working on your vehicle will treat you right. Keith Montanok, Specialty Truck and Auto, right across the street from the Long Branch Saloon off of Abbott. His number, 349-1637. 349-1637.
Can I reveal a guilty pleasure?
Yeah.
So Alaska Dispatch News has an article. Federal Pipeline Coordinator's Office to close as prospects swing to LNG.
That's Larry Pursley, right?
As I said, yeah, and Larry Pursley is the one who, with his head on the block, is going to get axed.
Now, let's think about that for a second. How much has he made over the last, 5 or 6 years?
Probably $1 million.
For absolutely nothing.
$1.5 million.
Absolutely nothing.
He goes around and he makes little speeches about stuff. He's so smug, by the way. He's probably the most annoying person I've ever met in government.
I admire him because he's the only human being ever in the history of the Dan Fagan radio show that admitted he was a liberal.
I love that honesty, by the way.
Yeah, because he said, and he just did it casually. He said, well, being a liberal, I think, and I said, what? I said, did you just call yourself a liberal? He said, yeah. I said, I'm a liberal. I said, no one ever admits they're liberal.
Wow. So he's the guy.
He's the guy. And the other thing he did that was very memorable is we were in some editorial meeting somewhere. He used to be the editorial head writer at the ADN. And we're all talking about taxes and where we're supposed to go as a state and the long-term fiscal plan. And I said, I mentioned, I said, well, my listeners, they don't like the idea of an income tax. And he said, well, your listeners are conservative, so they're selfish.
And that's what you said just last hour, that conservatives are mean and selfish.
So that's another liberal friend of mine said.
Yeah. So they're all on the same page.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I don't feel very selfish, by the way.
I want to harken back to this conversation you had with your daughter, because I think it's a fascinating one.
My 17-year-old daughter, Karina, child number 3.
And you told her what?
Well, we were having a discussion. She's trying to figure out what school to go to, what kind of skill she wants, what she wants to do with her life.
What's she leaning toward?
I don't really know. She's a little bit private. I always have these little designs for my kids as to what I think they ought to do. Like my oldest, I want her to be a lawyer, and I want this one to be a doctor.
Yeah.
But we're looking honestly at the pace and the speed of technology change. And so we're really trying to figure it out. She says, well, what if they do automate all these jobs? And they say 47% of American jobs could be automated by 2035. That's a lot. That's a huge change, which would take a dramatic change in our education system in order to address it, which we're not ready for at all. So we were just talking about, well, how do we survive as a family? when she was kind of sort of grilling me as to what my plan is. And so I told her,
wow, smart kid.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. Because, we are a close-knit family, and I do feel responsible for my kids. And
You have 9 of them.
I have 9 of them.
Those who don't know.
And so I told her that, look, I am working as hard as I possibly can, because I think right now is a really good time to earn money with the skill set that I have. And we are putting that into as many assets as we possibly can, and I will continue to do that until I retire or, whatever. And with the hope that, at the right time, that they're well educated so they have the best chance to survive any changes that might come down the pike, but also that the family has, a reasonable amount of assets to be able to weather whatever comes our way.
Can we agree on one thing, that for the most part, with the exception of engineering degrees, nursing degrees, medical degrees, law degrees, that the vast majority of secondary education is nothing but a big fat scam.
Is it a scam?
Because you're going to be, the first 10, 15 years of your life, you're going to be burdened with this massive financial debt, which is a student loan.
Yeah. Well, the average student debt has climbed about $30,000, which means some people have 0 and some people have 60, and then there's a bunch of people in the middle there.
But remember, Glenn, when you get this $400, $500, $600 payment that is due every month, that's on top of your mortgage, your car payment, your car insurance, your cell phone bill, blah, blah, blah.
Absolutely right.
And you get nothing for that.
All this comes from government interaction, by the way. The dramatic, unbelievable increase in the cost of education. Because when I went to school, education was about a quarter of the cost that it is now. When I went to school, in my generation, was a quarter of the cost that it is now. Now, has inflation consumed 400%? No.
Yeah.
Government involvement has.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now people can get loans, so they're real easy to get, so people do. Anyway, I think there are a lot of degrees that are good. Any Bachelor of Science degree, I think, is a good degree to get. If you can get a Bachelor of Science, whether it's in biology, whether it's in chemistry, you are going to be well qualified to assist the United States in creating wealth.
I would submit to you, you take those degrees out of the mix.
Okay. So you're to Bachelor of Arts.
The majority of the degrees that are earned, other than helping you as a person and causing you to be more disciplined and improving your character, I suppose, to some degree, they're useless.
Well, they open the door these days to the low-wage jobs that you would have been able to get in the past without a degree, because there are so many people with degrees. Have I ever told you, by the way, there were 900 people in my graduating class. Have I ever told you the makeup of it? 1993 from UAA. And I graduated late because I got into a really bad car accident that almost killed me in 1988 and 89. And so I lost a couple of years, came up here and did some more fish processing all over Alaska. But in my graduating class in 1993, there were 900 graduates, 9 computer science majors, of which I was one of them. And that turned out to be a good degree. 100% of those people got jobs in their industry.
That would be a good example.
Yeah. So, but there were a couple of hundred general arts majors, which means people who had gone to school for long enough, had gotten enough credits, but had never actually completed a degree. So they got 120 or 130 credits, and they just basically gave up. Said, I'm done with this place. I don't care that I don't have a real degree. So there were a couple hundred of those, couple hundred psychology majors, sociology majors. And then there were several, I don't know, probably 150 or so business majors. And so almost exclusively the graduating class was made up of people with Bachelor of Arts degrees, which I am sure that people who got the sociology degrees and psychology degrees, one of whom is a friend of mine, they're not going to get jobs in their industry, and that's really what you're talking about. Yeah. What they went to school for was a piece of paper. They're going to go on with their lives, and that piece of paper may not mean much to them.
And it's not just that it doesn't mean much. It's now a very considerable burden on my ability to raise my wife and 2, 3 young kids.
Plus you lost 4, 5, 6, 7 years of income.
When you could have taken that time and proven yourself valuable to a company, and you could be so much further advanced in your career now, simply because they have seen that you're hard working, you're talented, and you're skilled, and they believe in you, plus you got 4 years experience in that profession.
Yeah, and then you'll get a degree too, because they want to keep you.
744.
Yeah, and then you'll get a degree too, because they want to keep you.
744.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel. Give them a call. 569-1080. KOAN.
Don't complain about your cable bill going up and up and up. Do something about it. Grab a pencil and jot down this special number.
Call 877-319-MY-TV.
The more cable TV rates go up, the better digital satellite TV looks. So cancel the cable and get more of your favorite channels in 100% digital quality for less money.
Call 877-319-MY-TV.
Just $24.99. What are you waiting for? Pull out your major credit or debit card.
Call 877-319-MY-TV. That's 877-319-MY-TV.
Well, we had a chance recently to share 10 pounds of golden king crab clusters with 4 of our friends from the lower 48. And what a feast it was. It makes me realize that we Alaskans should take more advantage of our wonderful king crab because it's hard to get at any price in the rest of the world. So wouldn't you know, the Noosa City Market make it easy for you this week with a sensational price on big golden king crab clusters, legs and claws only, just the good stuff, just $15.99 a pound. Give the family a big holiday treat with golden king crab from Noosa City Market. Remember to reserve your standing rib roast for Christmas dinner. Call Noosa and get yours reserved because we will sell them all very quickly and you don't want to miss out. You know, Noosa City Market make it so easy to send fabulous Alaskan seafood for Christmas at affordable prices. There are 8 great packages to choose from, lots of combinations from $139 to $179. All packing and shipping included. It's overnight delivery, and it's all guaranteed. Call Noosa Crab Central 561-5173. Noosa Midtown City Market, 13th and I.
Hi, this is Brian Stan. I was a Marine Corps officer before becoming a UFC fighter. Military experience can add greatly to your life, as it has mine. The Air Force Reserve offers many part-time jobs in Alaska, which will allow you to continue your civilian career at the same time. You'll receive excellent training, educational assistance, and many other benefits. Join an outstanding team in the Air Force Reserve. For more information on the Air Force Reserve, go to afreserve.com.
This message is sponsored by the Air Force Reserve and aired by the Alaska Broadcasters Association and this local station.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel in the morning. Give them a call. 569-1080. KOAN.
7:47. Hey, next week, this day, it'll be Christmas morning, just a week away. Dan Fagan here, Glen Biegel on KOAN, KVNT, or number 569-1080.
The roofers are skillful, knowledgeable, and professional. That is how they accomplished the unbelievable feat of being Better Business Bureau Business of the Year. Earhart Roofing, almost always the lowest bidder, but they're just great at doing what they do best, and that is 42 years in the roofing business. Earhart Roofing, 345-5555. Of course, the latest in technology. If you didn't know, the best technology you used to be able to get is a 30-year warranted roof. Now it's 50 years. It's the kinds of materials they use and the expertise with which they install them. Fast and efficient. Earhart Roofing. When you think roofing, think Earhart. E-A-R-H-A-R-T.
569-1080. 569-1080. That's the number if you'd like to be a part of the broadcast. Let's go to Scott. Scott, you're on. Good morning.
Good morning. Hey, you guys are talking about educational opportunities.
Yes, sir.
And I'm a natural resource manager with the Department of Natural Resources.
Yes, sir.
And we have a lot of folks that we hire that have what's called ArcGIS skills, and that's electronic mapping. And there's a group called Esri, which has a product which dominates the market. And if people are into outdoors, want to work in the outdoors area, are good with computers, I really, really, really recommend that they look into ArcGIS.
Yeah, you can get a 2-year certificate in that, be far more employable than 80-90% of people who come out of the UA system.
Absolutely. And I'll tell you what, you get somebody that's really crackerjack at ArcGIS, and they're almost guaranteed a job. In all kinds of government and private sector, people use it. It's a great spatial analysis tool for making decisions on land use, and private sector, oil companies, engineering companies, government.
Well, Scott, the thing is about this is that GIS is one of those things that's really transforming data to actually know where a person is and how they relate to all the things around them. So this is one of those spaces where, people used to think, well, computer science, that's really the big thing. GIS is an enormous opportunity to talent pools. And if you want to have current skills, GIS is a great place to do that.
Yeah, and I've hired probably 20 people in the last 5 or 6 years into DNR, and almost unequivocally, everybody that we've hired that has GIS skills is smart enough to do other things, and they usually work out and branch into other things. And I've watched some really, really bright people do very, very well with it. I recommend young people look at it. It's a great skill, and there's a lot of demand for it. And I can almost guarantee they'd get a job somewhere if they're good at it.
What, well paying?
Yeah, I mean, decent wage. Yeah, absolutely.
Scott, I appreciate that.
Okay.
Thanks for letting us know.
All right. Bye.
569, go back, 569-1080. You know, you were telling me during the break that you anticipate things changing dramatically, technology-wise.
Yeah, well, think about how dramatically things changed in the Industrial Revolution. We went from people having to pick cotton out of the fields to having a cotton gin that could do the work of really 100 to 500 people. So we have had dramatic transformations in our society over time, and I think we're headed for another one. And GIS really is a big part of it, knowing where you are, because once you get a car that can drive itself, a lot of our activities are actually dependent on us having to drive ourselves around. Right now they're trying to figure out robots that help do assisted living, and actually Japan is driving a lot of this because they don't have young people to do all of the tasks and chores that older people need them to do, like take care of them.
They're not having babies so much.
Yeah, they don't have hardly any babies. Their population is dramatically aging, so that they just don't have the people. So they literally need something in order to take care of this difficulty that they have, assisted living. And so, robots will be filling that void and have just started doing that. But if you look at the number of things, there actually is an automated hamburger machine, which you can type in what kind of things you want on it and out the other end, and it can make 360 of them an hour. And so what's going on right now for people is they can't really imagine it until they see it happen.
Well, Glenn, look at, because this is perfect for Brian. Brian, you've been in the radio business how long?
27 years.
I would assume when you started, every shift had a live DJ.
Yes, I did overnights, midnight to 6 live.
Wow.
Now, typically, you have a morning show. No, we're talking about music radio.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe an afternoon show.
Maybe.
Right, and then the rest of it's just all what they call voice track.
Yep.
And the listener has no idea, but the person you're hearing introduce a song.
They did it at 7 o'clock that morning.
It took them 20 minutes to fill a whole shift.
Yeah, one of the stations I was at in Salt Lake, we had probably 70 or 80 employees for 5 or 6 stations. And just an example, here in town, a lot of these places are less than 20.
Yeah.
I think we're less than 10 here.
And that's because of automation.
Yeah, yep. And these dramatic transformations, just to get people some idea about how hard it's going to be for you to tell the difference between what's going on. Many places that you'll call, and if you get a telephone support person, that can be an actual computer. So we're already there. A story just got picked up by the AP about an earthquake. It was actually written by a computer. And it was picked up by the AP and reprinted as an AP story.
How does the computer write a story?
They have been given a template for this is what your story will be, and so it fills in the blanks. It's out there watching all of the different meteorological and earthquake sensing things, and it basically can just publish a story on its own. It's given that authority.
Like the Weather Service will give you the forecast and all that.
Yeah, and those are all automated too. They don't require any human being to try and figure out, what
someone's got to do the forecast.
Well, it depends on how good you actually get. Frankly, most trades that go on Wall Street right now are all done without the interaction of human beings at all. So people have to realize this, and I realize
someone has to decide to sell.
No, what the computers are actually
because
given
at a certain price.
Yeah, they're
sell
exactly.
Okay, gotcha.
Right.
Gotcha.
So, and you're right, but people have given them permission to do X, Y, and Z.
Right.
But
They set of parameters.
they are getting closer to the point where they actually are testing computers to find out whether or not they have better predictive capabilities than your average stockbroker.
I don't see how a computer could write a story, but Brian's smiling, so I know.
Yeah, I had a great idea for a talk radio show.
Yeah.
Siri.
Theory, yeah.
Yeah, we'll just set Siri up next to the microphone, and people can call in and ask Siri questions. see what Siri says. What do you think, Dan? You have to ask Siri what time it is.
What time is it, Siri?
Yeah, there we go.
No, isn't that? Thank you,
Yeah,
Siri.
we'll get it dialed in so it's a little better. But
You know, it's funny because when I first got my phone, and I had a friend standing next to me, and Siri says, "I'm like, what do you want me to call you?" And I said, "Stud Muffin." And so now every time I get an email, it says only I see it, Stud Muffin. And then if I ask questions, it'll say, the Pizza Hut's on C Street, Stud Muffin. I don't know how to undo that.
Say
It's
it.
embarrassing.
Call me Dan. Just click on Siri. Say, call me Dan.
I can't call you Dan because
Siri, what do you call me?
We could barely hear that, but that was great.
Okay, so
But since we're
she
friends, I
said-
get to call you Stud.
Yeah,
Muffin.
Siri told him, "I call you Dan, but is that what it says? But since we're friends, I get to call you Stud Muffin
from now on."
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, my point being that at some level of complexity, people are going to not be able to distinguish between what's being computerized and what isn't being computerized.
Is this good?
Well, it's different. Everybody will point to the fact that when we did a cotton gin, we didn't know what we were going to do with those other 100 people, but those other 100 people went on to get good jobs.
Well, the cotton shirt that you buy now is considerably less.
Mm-hmm.
So that means you get to keep more of your money.
And you have more of them, and they're better quality,
Right.
and they last longer.
And so therefore, the money that you would have spent on a much more expensive shirt, you now get to reinvest in the economy, which creates more opportunity. I think technology is always a win. It's not maybe in the short term for some people, but in the long term, as there's more cash flow into our economy, which is what technology does, and it's a win as long as the government doesn't, soak it all up via taxes.
Yeah, I see this as a technological revolution as a little more harder to pin, because what happened when the cotton gin came around is we went from 100 low-skilled workers to 1 high-skilled worker, and then we found jobs for the under 100 people to do. We're going to be wiping out low-skilled jobs, mowing your lawn, making your hamburger, making your coffee, delivering your newspaper. All of these things which are a lot of things. These things I did when I was young. These are all the jobs that I had, and so I don't know exactly how. I do know this: if we're going to survive this, or if poor people are going to survive this, they're going to need a better education. So we're going to have to adapt.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
7:58.
So we're going to have to adapt.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
7:58.
Best Split Firewood can deliver split firewood to your house today. And if you live in Anchorage, delivery is free. Wait, what did I just say? Delivery is free if you live in Anchorage. Wow, that's cool. Okay, back to the commercial. Best Split Firewood. Call now, 727-5928. That's 727-5928, and get 2 bundles of starter sticks with your order. Hold on, 2 bundles of starter sticks and free delivery in Anchorage? That's way cool. Best Split Firewood will deliver mostly all birch split and ready for your fireplace or wood stove, no matter how much you need. A quarter, half, or full cord. They have the best firewood in the city, and they'll even mix in some spruce if you You asked for it. And don't worry if you just need a couple of bundles. Best Split Firewood has them wrapped and ready to go at half of what you would pay anywhere else in the city. Best Split Firewood. Call today for free delivery in Anchorage and two bundles of starter sticks. 727-5928. That's 727-5928.
Visit their new location at 2000 East 68th Avenue in Anchorage.
You're listening to Hot Talk, KOAN, Anchorage, AM 1080, and retranslated on 95.1 FM on K236CG, Anchorage.
News Radio, I'm Lisa Brady. The accused marathon bomber just wrapping up his final court appearance before the bombing trial, set to begin next month. Fox News Radio's Bill Marcus is live outside federal court in Boston.
Lisa, in his first appearance in federal court in 17 months, Dzhokhar Tsarnaev scratched his hair, which has grown very long, and picked at his beard. He spoke only 4 times during the 23-minute hearing, briefly telling the judge he was satisfied with his representation. Judge O'Toole ordering a list of exhibits to be on his desk by January 2nd for the trial that starts on the 5th. There was one outburst at the end of the proceeding, a woman yelling in Russian support for Tsarnaev. Leaving the courthouse, Boston Marathon victim Mark Fuccarelli, who lost part of his leg in the marathon bombing, responded to that.
I think everybody's welcome to their opinion.
Fuccarelli saying he was happy to be alive. Lisa?
Bill, thanks. A suspected drunk driver remains in custody in California for a deadly accident after a church service last night. Fox Radio's Tanya J. Powers with this live.
3 people are dead. 8 more, including children, are recovering after being hit along the Pacific Coast Highway. The driver is being held on $300,000 bail.
After being evaluated, has been arrested for felony vehicular manslaughter while intoxicated. The driver has been identified as a Margot Bronstein, who's 56 years old and is a resident of Redondo Beach.
Lieutenant Joe Hoffman with the Redondo Beach Police. At least 2 people are still in critical condition, Lisa.
Tanya, thanks. North Korea's envoy to the UN lashing out at the U.S. and the CIA, saying a report linking Pyongyang to the Sony hacking is just part of a U.S. policy trying to overthrow the regime, and that a proposed Security Council resolution condemning the North for human rights abuses doesn't reflect the reality on the ground. Meantime, Cuba's envoy defending North Korea moments ago at that same UN General Assembly meeting. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
And now, a Golf Miss Carol brought to you by Golfsmith.
On the 12th day of golf, Miss my Golfsmith gave to me 12 Pro V1s, 11 Under Armour's, 10 Golf Tech lessons, 9 Nike pants, 8 Bertha irons, 7 Golfsmith gift card, 6 Garmin watches, 5 iron 2.
Come celebrate Golf Miss, happening right now only at Golfsmith.
These 2 Cleveland wedges and a tap-in birdie on a par 3.
Golfsmith, anything for golf.
America was built by people with a few dollars and a dream. And while many don't know it, there's one path to success that still only requires a dream and about $10. That's right. If your dream is to start or grow your business, something as simple as the right business card could make all the difference. And today at Vistaprint.com, you can get 500 full-color business cards for only $9.99. That's right, only $9.99. Just go to Vistaprint.com and enter promo code 1818 at checkout. That's Vistaprint.com, promo code 1818.
The U.S. Coast Guard just out with a statement emphasizing.
Have you ever wondered what it would be like to never be asked, what would you like for Christmas? And even if you did get asked, you know you wouldn't get it. For most teen youth in the foster system, this is a sad reality. But this year, you can change all that. This holiday season, you can make a difference with Pump Up the Kids. Alaska Integrated Media and this station have once again teamed up with the Alaska Center for Families and the Office of Children's Services for the 5th annual Pump Up the Kids. Did you know that we have hundreds of foster care kids who are in need? Kids who won't have much of a Christmas unless you help. This year, make a holiday wish come true for a local teen youth foster child by adopting a wish list. Go to alaskaim.com and click on the Pump Up the Kids logo to register. We'll contact you and get you a wish list, or simply make a donation.
With a Sam's Club membership, you get incredible savings every time you shop. Hurry in to find amazing gifts for everyone on your list. There's still time to get perfect gifts at prices you'll love, like a $100 iTunes gift card for only $85, and a Keurig 2.0 brewing system with 42 K-Cups for just $129.98. Order from samsclub.com before December 22nd and get guaranteed delivery by Christmas. Join and save. Sam's Club. Life is better when you're in the club. See club for details.
When I grew up, I want to be a pro basketball player. An elementary school teacher.
No matter what dream you choose or where you are in life, Country Financial helps you and your family grow your own way.
Or maybe a veterinarian. A mom, a doctor, and president of the United States. Maybe an astronaut or, an Olympic gymnast.
You can go your own way. We know some dreams take a little longer to achieve, which is why your local Country Financial representative offers helpful advice on everything, from auto and home insurance to financial planning, education to retirement, and business insurance too, so that you can continue to grow and dream.
Or maybe an accountant, like my dad.
For more information, visit countryfinancial.com or call 1-866-COUNTRY. Country Financial. Grow your own way.
Why is A&A The Shop Alaska's independent Subaru specialist? How is it they've been voted the best shop in Anchorage not once but 6 times? Well, it's pretty simple. They offer the best warranty in the business. If they work on your Subaru, you're going to get a 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty on both parts and labor. That's unheard of. A&A The Shop deals exclusively with Subarus, and they also offer $35 oil changes. All their technicians are ASE certified. Call A&A The Shop for an appointment. 562-3919 in Anchorage and 696-2096 in Eagle River. Hot Talk KOAN. Hot Talk KOAN, man. You're on with Fagan and Biegel. 1080KOAN.com.
All right, welcome back. Yeah, Fagan.
Glad we cut that conversation off.
Well, we're going to talk about it later in the broadcast because I think it's an interesting story.
All
6
right.
minutes past 8 o'clock. Fagan, Biegel, and KOAN. KVNT out in the valley, our number 569-1080, 569-1080. One of our favorite folks, Crystal Nightguard with the Matsu Business Alliances on the phone with us. How are you, Crystal?
Great. How are you?
I'm good. So 6 years you've been around now.
Absolutely.
That's pretty daggum impressive.
You know what? It is pretty impressive, I think. What started as just kind of an idea on a napkin, our community has invested in us and we've invested in them, and I think we've created some good conversations about why jobs matter and taken some strong positions on issues that weren't easy, but I haven't been in a business yet that's easy.
Well, I love your emphasis or the fact that you are a for-profit, and I know many in the non-profit world probably gasped when they heard that what you're going to do, which is normally done almost exclusively in the nonprofit realm, you were going to do it for profit.
Well, I didn't really see it any other way. First of all, I don't understand why I would get up to make no profit. I'm a capitalist at heart.
There you go.
Secondarily, the reason that capitalism thrives is that you listen to the marketplace and you create and design offers that they want.
Yes.
It's really a model that continues to make the rest of the world look at us. So I had to do what I knew, and that is to not only focus on the profit, but focus on what your market wants to engage in and what they want you to design and create and get results out of it.
And so much of the nonprofit sector is supplemented and undergirded by government taxpayer money, which is going to just obviously, Crystal, bring in inefficiencies, right?
Well, it does. And part of the challenge has been how you can take this private-public partnership and also bring a benefit to the public. Because they're two totally different models of economics. They're different models of how they move in the marketplace, and yet there's some value. The value for nonprofit is they have a whole different toolbox of funding that a profit company would not have access to. So there are some ways that we can work collaboratively with them. It's just that we always want to make sure that the private sector is driving the economy, because nonprofits should be a result of a thriving economy. It should never be the economy.
I was devastated to see that Mr. Walker took the some of the or most of the funding in the capital budget off for the Kinnick Bridge. You have a thought on his decision to do so?
I think it's going to be one of many hard decisions that's going to have to be made down in Juneau. We see the bridge as a really valuable component of the complete infrastructure project that we can get to develop a transshipment economy from the borough. But I will say, in the 6 years we've been in business, that particular project has continued to move from different economic models and different agencies that have caused confusion in the marketplace of what it really means. And that's not a good place for a project to be when you have new leadership that takes over. That's really focused on developing infrastructure around pipelines and not bridges.
I just don't understand. Frankly, I consider it Governor Parnell's biggest failure, and same with Palin and Murkowski. Why don't we just take the money and build the thing? I think the dividends that it would pay I know when times are tight right now, but
when times are tight, this is what I'm wondering about, Crystal. Is when times are tight, that's kind of when you need to prepare yourself for whatever the next phase is. And and that I'm wondering whether or not we're not doing that.
We do see that in business too. I think we see it in our lives, is that when you miss a paycheck or you lose a customer, that's when some of your best innovation comes. That's when some of your best conversations come. That's when some of your best employees step up and say, you know what, I'm committed to making this business everything it can be. And I think what it really shows is that this administration has an opportunity to show leadership or not. And it starts with identifying these key infrastructure projects that are going to build economies and not the government.
Yeah, that's the key. Talking to Crystal Nygaard with the Matsu Business Alliance.
Can you give us some of the accomplishments of the Matsu Business Alliance? You guys have been around 6 years. I imagine you've done a lot of things people may not even know about.
Well, I guess the biggest accomplishment is we've made payroll every 2 weeks. That's a great accomplishment.
That's a big deal. It's a big
and
deal.
we paid our taxes. We pay our taxes to the feds and everybody else first. That's a great accomplishment from the business. But what we've done, accomplishments in the community, is we've really encouraged business-minded individuals to get in that policy conversation, to take on leadership positions, and to bring different parts of our economy, whether it's a business on the North Slope or a business in Kenai, and bring them into our market and start building bridges on how we can develop the state economy and not be siloed on that it only matters to the Mats too.
You have to take tough positions on various projects in order to fight off the environmental lobby, which is very strong. Do you think that they're getting stronger these days or getting weaker? And if you think they either should get weaker or stronger, what should we do in order to help that along?
Well, I think Dan hit right on it in the beginning of the conversation is follow the money. And they're heavily funded. And they're not funded by Alaskans. They're funded by people outside of Alaska that are trying to tell us how we're going to manage our resources. So fundamentally, their power comes from outside the state. And they've been very successful in the state in getting certain parts of rural Alaska to buy into this philosophy they have about money and development of our natural resources. And so they are stronger now than in 5 years ago when we started our business. And I would say they're stronger when it comes to funding, but they're not the majority voice. They're just they're a silent demographic that have a very pronounced and strategic movement in the community. So the only way that you can really have any success in working to get your message out is you've got to educate people and show them what jobs can do. And these are jobs that mean something like mining and oil and gas.
Talking to Crystal Nygaard, who is the president of Matsu Business Alliance. I know you've got a big luncheon today. We'll ask you about that next. 8:14's the time. Stay with us. 8:14's the time. Stay with us.
Fagan and Biegel on Hot Talk KOAN and online at 1080KOAN.com.
Trail Boss Solutions is your local award-winning, nationally recognized construction and remodel firm. From handyman services to kitchen design and remodel to custom home construction, Trail Boss Solutions has the experienced professionals to take your project from initial design through completion, on time and on budget. Trail Boss Solutions is the only call for all your construction, design, and remodel needs. Please visit us on the web at trailboss-solutions.com or contact Trail Boss Solutions direct at 646-1403.
Well, don't look now, but this is the last shopping weekend before Christmas. But don't panic. Bells has everything you need for those last-minute, unique, and creative gifts and decorations. And everywhere you look at Bells, you'll find great bargains. For starters, you'll find all the great names in holiday dinnerware, china, and pottery, 40% off. What a great way to dress up your holiday table with beautiful holiday dishes and serving pieces, all 40% off. Another idea, Bells has so many unique, hard-to-find Christmas ornaments, and right now they're all 40% off. Yes, they are discounted before Christmas when you can really use them. And be sure to check out the Department 56 selection of Christmas villages. Any collector would love to get a new piece for their holiday village. So right now, Bells has all Department 56 pieces 25% off. Hurry in and get just the right ones. Bell's Nursery and Gifts on Specking Road and Bell's Nursery on Cranberry Road. Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays from Bells.
Hanukkah, the Festival of Lights. Join us for Cirque de Hanukkah, featuring an incredible acrobatic display by the Chicago Boys acrobatic team, as seen on America's Got Talent. Enjoy latkes, donuts, Israeli falafel, and let the kids have a blast with Meltdown, the new multiplayer Hanukkah spinning game. Sunday, December 21st, 5 p.m. at the Egan Center. All families welcome. Tickets at the door or online at alaskajewishcampus.org. Happy Hanukkah to all.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel on Hot Talk KOAN and online at 1080KOAN.com.
8:17, Dan Fagan, Glen Biegel, broadcasting on KOAN, KVNT. Mike Daniels, who heads up Country Financial here in Alaska. They've got 13 locations, 5 in the Valley, 5 in Anchorage. Boy, he has helped guide so many Alaskans into a successful retirement, making sure that they have enough insurance. Mike Daniels and his country representative team will ask you the right questions, and you're going to realize right off the bat once you sit down with one of his team members that, man, this is stuff I need to know. So many Alaskans have visited country financial representatives, and it's just paid huge dividends for them. So many things in the financial planning realm that you and we just don't have time to research and understand. Well, Mike Daniels and his team, they do, and they will, and they'll help you. Here's how you get in touch with them. 866-COUNTRY. 866-COUNTRY. Our number, 569-1080. We're talking to Crystal Nygaard with the Matsu Business Alliance. And you got a big luncheon today, huh?
We do. We have a monthly luncheon, and today we're going to do a business award celebration for those businesses that have really made a difference in our economy.
Who are some of how many businesses you pick?
So we have 3 businesses, and then we do 3 service awards for those that are either driving policy or demonstrating good leadership.
Who are your 3 services award?
You're going to have to come to the luncheon.
No. So you unveil it at the...
We unveil it at the luncheon.
And same with the businesses?
Absolutely.
I got you. Well, that's interesting. That's a great idea.
Well, about 2 weeks ago, we went out to our subscribers and asked them, this is the criteria that we have for each of these awards, and these are who we've given them to in the past. And so some of the awards today are going to be, we have a Mover and Shaker Award. Those are the businesses that continue to move forward with great challenge. We've got Outstanding Service Award. Those are the businesses that, each time you go there, they just have outstanding service, and they continue to bring us new options for, whether it's a coffee we buy or vegetables we buy.
Yeah.
And then some of our policy awards are kind of team focused this year. People who either ran for office the first time or ran for an office that was like David and Goliath in the beginning, and you thought, how is this ever going to happen?
Now, the recipients of these awards, do they know they've won?
Well, their staff knows that they won.
Okay, so will they?
So they will be there.
They will be there. Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Oh, that's good. What's going on in the Valley, economy-wise? How's things doing?
If the borough was a business, location is one of our greatest assets. Of course, the port is moving along with some great velocity, and so is the rail spur. And the last little bit we got to finish to create its own economy, pretty much out there. We continue as a very large area, and every part of the valley has a different narrative of what they want their economy to be. We continue to focus on what's possible and kind of put aside what's not possible. So Wasilla continues to have a lot of retail move in, and they're, as you know, they've got conversations around power and roads, and so does this core area.
Valley's still growing?
The valley is still growing. We've seen 6 or 7 professional companies come out, whether they're architects or engineers, are starting to open offices out here in the valley and let their people people don't have to commute to Anchorage. So that's good when you have those kind of companies open businesses out here. So we still have 10% of our labor going up to the North Slope, and
one thing I've noticed about Valley people, we're talking to Crystal Nygaard with the Alaska Business Alliance, or Matsu Business Alliance, is that people in Anchorage to drive to the Valley, that's a huge deal. People in the Valley to drive to Anchorage, yeah, they'll do that. No, never give it a second thought. Have you noticed that?
We have noticed that, but I think in the last 3 years, especially those that are running for an office, or they're engaged in some issue of policy, they're now seeing some value in having the Matsu be an alliance to them. Because it does matter. And we did not have a business-friendly assembly 5 years ago.
You do now.
And we do now, and there's 3 seats that are up here in October that are going to be very, very critical, because we could potentially have non-business friendly people representing the borough, and this is not what we need.
How did Jim Culver win office out there? I thought the Valley was conservative.
Well, his area is that Palmer, Hatcher Pass, a little bit of Four Corners. In that particular race, Jim is very good at his message. He had a lot of support from unions. He had money. He was a former Democrat that changed his party to be a Republican some time ago. That's also a trend that we've seen in the Valley, former Democrats that register to be Republicans because it's electable.
Right.
And we had a 3-way race there that really cost us that seat. Now, Jim can be pretty instrumental in building that bridge between the administration and some of the delegation, but we're really going to watch to see what his true DNA is and where his alliances are.
We're looking at low oil prices, and it looks like it's going to dramatically change sort of the makeup or the purpose of the legislature here for the upcoming session. Do you think that people will be driven closer together? In other words, that this is sort of a crisis, and in a crisis, a lot of times we come together and figure out what we have to do rather than what kind of political advantage we can get. Do you think that'll happen?
Glenn, I'd like to say that would be the ultimate outcome, to come together and be proactive in a solution. But in particular, the governor's race had some very strong alliances to where their money came from. Governor Walker.
A lot of favors might have to be paid off.
Governor Walker, in the very beginning, I think he really had a passion for business in Alaska. But if you look at the money at the end of the game, there's a lot of alliances there to a collective body of people who have built their business around not getting along and built their business around a bigger tantrum gives you more money. That's not good. And so I think, once again, they have a perfect opportunity to show leadership at its finest when oil prices are low and the promises have been made.
Can I give you a little bit of a dour situation, and I don't know whether or not this is indicative, but he came out and asked his folks to give him a 5% cut in their budgets. And to me, what that says is, okay, Republicans, if you want to cut the budget, you're going to have to stick your necks out because I'm not going to. Because you can get a 5% budget cut in most areas in government and not really affect anything. We're probably going to need a 20 to 30% cut in a lot of areas of government in order for us to survive this downturn in oil, and that's if it doesn't last forever. So is that a reasonable thing to say, and is there anything we can do about that as conservatives to get, to put some realistic cuts on the table?
Well, I think that you are definitely identifying a conversation that's going to be probably on the headlines of this whole legislative session. Glenn, I'd like to say that I was more familiar with how government funds itself, but I have yet to understand the economics behind it. There are, according to our delegation, there are just places in government you cannot touch, you cannot cut. And so it's pretty limited where you can cut.
Medicaid, you can't cut. The courts have told us how much we have to spend on schools, so in all likelihood we can't cut there. Once you take those two off the table, by the way, you're already at about 60% of the budget, I think.
You are, and so you're very limited as to really where you can cut, which is really opposite of business, as you know. I mean, when times get tough, you know where you have to cut. But I have faith in our delegation that they are not going to let that stop. They're not going to avoid that conversation, and they are going to put things out there. And, they kind of have the advantage going in because they didn't overpromise economics that were not achievable. So we're to build the budget like we did around oil prices. It's a dangerous situation, but like I said, leadership, I think, is the key component here on how we drive our state. And we've seen it in the borough. I've yet to see the borough have a lot of money. It's continually, we have to cut. How do we? And this is where the private sector can play a crucial role in helping government be efficient and providing services that should have been in our hands in the beginning.
Crystal Nygaard on with us with the Matsu Business Alliance. You have a luncheon scheduled for today?
We do. Today, 12 to 1 at Evangelo's downstairs. We invite the public and our leaders to come forward and really thank these businesses and these leaders that have made the Matsu Borough a place that people want to live and have their business.
Crystal, the kind of conversations you guys are going to have there today, of all days, is going to be some of the most fascinating conversations, some of the most important ones that will be held throughout the year. So I hope people go.
Thank you very much.
Keep up the crusade for the private sector.
You betcha. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Crystal. Crystal Nygaard with the Matsu Business Alliance out in the Matsu Valley. It's good to hear things are going well out there economy-wise, getting new businesses growing.
Well, with 10% of their employees working on the slope.
Yeah.
Those jobs, that creates 100% of the rest of the wealth in the valley, I would say, because, every one of those people is going to bring all that money back home. Their housing values, they're going to go to the Walmarts and all the different places and auto shops and whatever, Evangelos, and they're going to spend that money. So, the Matsu Valley exists because of the North Slope for sure.
Absolutely. 829, Fagan, Biegel. Stay with us. Absolutely. 829, Fagan, Biegel. Stay with us.
Don't just sit there. Give them a call. 569-1080. Join the conversation. KOAN.
Local news brought to you by Jansen Funeral Homes, Jansen's Evergreen Memorial Chapel, Jansen's Alaska Cremation Center, and Jansen's Eagle River Funeral Home. Jansen Funeral Homes, where just like family, they're there when you need them.
With KOAN News, I'm Chuck White. An Anchorage man has received 99 years in prison for fatally shooting his former boss at the Millennium Alaska Hotel in October 2011, shortly after he was fired. Javier Martinez, who's from the Dominican Republic, already sentenced to 65 years in prison for an unrelated case that involved identity theft and illegal entry into the United States. The victim of the shooting was 55-year-old Terry Fadley, whose death led to a new standard in the state when her same-sex partner initially was denied survivor benefits. A court later granted those benefits. St. Kenda reports a proposed ordinance in Anchorage to ban commercial marijuana businesses has failed.
Alaska voters already made pot legal during the statewide election, but communities have the option of banning pot businesses. After 4 hours of emotional testimony, the Anchorage Assembly voted 9-2 against the ordinance, much to the relief of would-be business owners planning to cash in.
That's your Hot Talk News update.
It'll be a colder day today with partial sunshine. We'll have a high of 22. Then a partly cloudy night with a low of just 11. Tomorrow, partly sunny, high 24. Clear tomorrow night with a low 14. Then a partly sunny day for Saturday with a high 22. Sunday, mostly cloudy skies, high of 26. And Monday, mostly cloudy, high 27. Hot Talk, breaking news, and the latest weather. KOAN, 95.1 FM and 1080 AM.
Happy holidays from your family at Worthington Ford. We wish you and yours all of the health and happiness in the world. Please be safe this holiday season, like Grandpa always said.
Hey, if you drive, don't drink. If you drink, don't drive. We love you.
Eating a low-calorie diet can leave some people feeling hungry, but adding these foods to your diet will help keep you satisfied. I'm Dr. Sanjay Gupta, CNN's chief medical correspondent. You know, one of the biggest reasons people's efforts to maintain a healthy diet fails is that they're left feeling hungry. Before you cave and go back to unhealthy eating habits, I want you to try incorporating some low-calorie foods that will keep you feeling full. Watermelon. 2 cups of watermelon contain less than 100 calories and about the recommended daily value of vitamin C. It's waterlogged. That means it's going to fill you up. It's also a great low-calorie option to satisfy a sweet tooth. Also, add a broth-based soup to each meal. Studies show people who incorporate broth-based soups consume fewer calories at mealtime. And wake up each morning with a bowl of oatmeal. The filling fiber in the oats can reduce your cravings for snacks before lunch. I'm Dr. Sanjay Gupta, helping you live a better life.
This is a special alert to consumers who owe back taxes to the IRS.
Due to the financial hardship consumers are facing during the decline in the U.S. economy, the Internal Revenue Service is now accepting reduced settlements from consumers on back taxes, resulting in back taxes reduced by thousands of dollars. An open phone line has been established by Federal Tax Relief for consumers to call and see if you qualify for this reduction to ensure your financial stability during this decline in the economy. Take down this number or store it in your cell phone, but call 1-800-237-2199. That's 1-800-237-2199. If you owe back taxes to the IRS, there is no need to fear anymore. The IRS is now accepting reduced settlements from consumers, resulting in tax debts reduced by thousands of dollars. For your free information and to see if you qualify for your reduction, call the Federal Tax Relief Hotline, 1-800-237-2199. 1-800-237-2199. That's 1-800-237-2199.
When I grew up, I want to be a pro basketball player. An elementary school teacher.
No matter what dream you choose or where you are in life, Country Financial helps you and your family grow your own way.
Or maybe a veterinarian. A mom, a doctor, and President of the United States. Maybe an astronaut or, oh, an Olympic gymnast.
You can go your own way. We know some dreams take a little longer to achieve, which is why your local country financial representative offers helpful advice on everything. From auto and home insurance to financial planning, education to retirement, and business insurance too, so that you can continue to grow and dream.
Or maybe an accountant, like my dad.
For more information, visit countryfinancial.com or call 1-866-COUNTRY. Country Financial. Grow your own way.
Glen Biegel, you have beautiful teeth.
Why, thank you, Dan Fagan. That's because my family and I have gone to Dr. Dan Kiley for years.
I get scared at the dentist.
Dr. Kiley knows people like you are afraid, so he creates a relaxed atmosphere at his office. People actually like going to the dentist for Dr. Kiley.
I know it's important to have good dental health.
And you look better with good teeth. And Dr. Kiley offers cosmetic dentistry along with general care.
Visit Dr. Dan Kiley at lakeotisdental.com. Call him at 562-9209.
Happy holidays from Specialty Truck and Auto. Please help me make sure our military members know how much you're appreciated this holiday season. While you're out Christmas shopping or celebrating with family and friends, join me in shaking the hand of a military member and give a heartfelt thank you each and every chance you get. If you happen to see a military member out enjoying a meal, you might consider quietly paying for their meal as a sign of your gratitude for the sacrifices they make for each of us every day, which allows each of us the freedom to celebrate this holiday season in whatever fashion we choose. Thank you from Specialty Truck and Auto.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel in the morning. Give them a call, 569-1080. KOAN.
$8:36. Good morning to you here on a Thursday morning, the 18th of December. Santa Claus bringing presents this time next week. There's Glen Biegel right over there. I'm Dan Fagan. 569-1080 is our number. You were going to ask me what now?
Oh, here's an Alaska Dispatch article. And the title of the article is from Nat Hertz. The title of the article is...
He's in D.C. now. I think he's their D.C. guy. Or maybe he's just down there for a while. I don't know.
Okay, yeah. The tagline is Washington, D.C.
Okay.
In Washington, Don Young's crusade against federal government continues.
What kind of crusade?
The kind of crusade which results in the opposite of whatever it is that's in the title of this article, I would guess. I don't know. I think he stands up and complains about the federal government quite a bit, and maybe he's just totally ineffective about this.
Well, I know that, I don't know how many years ago, 4, 5, 6 years ago, he called for one of the largest tax increases in the history of the country on gas taxes.
Yeah, he wanted $1 a gallon gas tax because he'd bought into the idea that we have to have more fuel-efficient cars, so the best way to do that is not allow the free market to incentivize people to get better efficient cars, but to punish the crud out of every poor person who drives a car.
And then, of course, Don Young supported the single most, and this word is used too loosely, but I am using it accurately here, communist-based legislation in the history of the country, the Employee Free Choice Act, which would basically give unions full control of
which was not about employees and was not about free choices, which is what you would expect from Washington, D.C., by the way.
Well, I'll just repeat it again. It literally was right out of Stalin's playbook. If you have a business with 50 more employees, if you could get 20, if the union thugs could come in there and convince 26 of the 50 to sign a card to say they want to be a union shop, automatically you become a union shop. So you got, let's say you got a restaurant with 50 employees, you get 26 of them to say, yeah, I'll be a union. From that point on, a delegate is appointed to that owner, to that business, a union delegate. Every time the owner of the business wants to make any changes that would affect the employees, salaries, anything,
benefits, hours,
he had to negotiate with the union delegate. If the union delegate didn't agree with what the owner of the business wanted to do, then a government-appointed arbitrator would decide what that business owner could do. Now, keep in mind, this would have been under the Obama Department of Labor Department. So you know these arbitrators would have always sided with the union delegate. It was the most communist piece of legislation.
Essentially, it's a government takeover of business.
It is.
That is basically what that is.
Totally. Yeah. And Don Young voted in favor of that. Now, I understand, and people will say, well, he knew it wasn't going to pass, and he just wanted to kiss up to big labor, and that's the reason he did it. Maybe so. But the fact that he actually said yes on that piece of legislation, it shows he has no clue on what it means to value the private sector.
As you go through this article by Nat Hertz, and again, this is the title. In Washington, Don Young's crusade against federal government continues. You'll never find a more flowery statement than that. Obviously, the ADN is up to something. And my question is, what are they up to here?
I don't know.
He's vulnerable.
Yeah.
He's on his way out.
So they're propping him up?
They're going to totally prop him up. Now they know that there's going to be a real contender who comes up next time against Don Young, and we are probably going to get rid of him, so they've got to start propping the guy up. It's hilarious.
How old is Don
81 years old. 81 years old. And the whole first part of the article, by the way, is I eat a lot of fish. I could eat more, but, I got a pretty strict consumption. What I consume, and that makes me stay in pretty good shape. This is from the same guy who just, I don't know, a month ago when he was running against Forrest Gump or whatever that guy's name was. What was his name?
Dunbar.
Oh, Dunbar. Well, he had Run Forrest Run on his thing.
I know.
He's not dumb, by the way. He was educated in the Kennedy School at Harvard. No, I just wanted people to know that I don't think he's dumb.
Yeah.
He's one of the brightest people, one of the brightest stars to come out of the state of Alaska. And if we don't get another person to replace Don Young, Forrest Dunbar will eventually take him out. I promise you that. Or whoever they put in for him. But Forrest Dunbar is a total rising star. Anyway, I just find it, I got whiplash reading the article because he's been savaged over and over and over and over and over and over and over again by the Alaska Dispatch News, and here all of a sudden, well, as it turns out, he's the greatest thing since sliced bread, and now he's fighting the federal government. Who knew?
Maybe it's Nat Hertz. Maybe he's kind of breaking the mold over there.
I don't know.
Can he be a closet conservative?
No, I don't think so. I think they know that Don Young is the best the left is going to be able to do for Alaska.
I thought Nat, the one thing that Nat did wrong, and it might not have even been him, during the Begich-Sullivan race, is when Begich ran that horrid ad.
Jerry Andrew Active.
Right. The headline read as though it was Dan Sullivan and Begich who were responsible for it. And that was the headline.
Yeah.
I thought Nat did a pretty good job of covering the Senate race.
Yeah, well, it wasn't as bad as the rest of the people who are over at the Alaska Dispatch. I just find that he doesn't choose the title, so the title's put on by the headline. Yeah, the headline. He doesn't choose the headline. So somebody over at Alaska Dispatch News, I think is essentially reading the tea leaves, wants to keep Don Young in there as long as they possibly can until Forrest Dunbar can come in and wipe him out. That's my guess.
It's a guess.
I don't know.
It's a guess,
That's all we have in life.
Yeah.
We throw them out there. A couple of other things I saw. Obamacare is shutting down free health clinics. People may want to know.
In Alaska?
In Alaska. Well, actually, this is from Newsmax, and it's 28 states. You have clinics that are shutting down. A dozen of them have cited Obamacare as their reason for shutting their doors.
And 3 of them in Alaska?
I don't know how many in Alaska. I don't know that.
Oh, I thought you said 3 health clinics have been shut down.
Nope. Of clinics across 28 states, almost a dozen in the past 2 years have signed Obamacare as the reason for shutting their doors.
Okay.
Here is what's going on for people who believe that Obamacare is just a great piece of legislation. It gave people that said on the top of the piece of paper, health insurance. That piece of paper prevents them from seeing a doctor. Okay?
Yeah.
I just want people who are talking about this.
And how do you figure that?
Not only that, but it also shut down the free clinics that they used to go to. So here's what happened. The people who used to go to free clinics because that's all they could, that's where they got their health care, those are gone. When you got this document that said that you had insurance, you got a $5,000 deductible on the insurance. Now, the insurance is very inexpensive. It might have cost you $100 a month. It might cost $200 a month. Not that that's inexpensive for a lot of people, but that's what people on the left are going to think. But what it requires you to do is pay a $5,000 deductible and 20, 30, or 40% of the cost of going to the doctor, up to $17,000. Let me just ask you a question, person on the left. How many people who make, I don't know, 25, 30,000 a year, how many people do you think could afford to go to the doctor under those circumstances?
Yeah.
The answer is just about zero.
Right.
That's the answer.
569-1080, 844. 569-1080, 844.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel. Give them a call. 569-1080. KOAN.
You know, after a hard day at work and then shopping for the holidays, the last thing you want to do is slave over a hot stove. Well, don't worry about it. Relief from this hectic time of year is just a jingle away. Call 333-8000 and ring in the holidays with the Sicily Season Greeting Special. 2 large 2-topping pizzas for only $11.99 each. So relax and let Sicily's deliver hot, fresh, delicious pizza, pasta, calzones, wings, and salads right to your door. It's fast, easy, and affordable. Call 333-8000 and ask for the Season's Greeting Special. 2 large 2-topping pizzas for only $11.99 each. For the only 24-hour-a-day delivery in Alaska, call 333-8000 or save 20% by ordering online at SicilysPizza.com. Best ingredients, best pizza, Sicily's. Wishing you and yours a safe and happy holiday season.
If you're ready for the movies, there's just one place to go. Check out moviesapron.com. It's showtime. Movie times, previews, and more. Get tickets, inside. Lots of information to explore. Take restaurants. Now you'll know just where to go. Before and after every show. Check out moviesapron.com. It's showtime.
There's a lot of so-called experts out there claiming to have the key to success in business for a price. Are you ready for real business advice you can trust without a fee? Then don't miss Getting Down to Business with David Weatherholt. Advice from people in the know. Technology, finance, taxes, and more. Business people helping business people take their skills and services to the next level. Getting Down to Business with David Weatherholt. Saturday from 8 to 10 a.m. on Hot Talk, KOAN, 95.1 FM and 1080 a.m. Hot Talk, KOAN, man.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel. 1080KOAN.com.
All right, 847.
Did you say you're going to talk about this Charlo Green and Sarha Shubak?
All right, so Charlo Green is this gal, very handsome woman.
What do you mean by handsome?
I mean, she's good looking.
She's good looking. She's hot. Can we say that? Or is that diminutive?
I'm in my 50s.
Okay.
I don't think I can use the word hot anymore.
Well, what is the closest word you can get to the word hot that you would feel comfortable with?
She's an attractive woman.
Okay, she's attractive.
Pretty.
Handsome is just not.
No, handsome's good.
Handsome is like a handsome.
It's almost
carriage.
an insult to call a woman handsome.
No, not at all.
Unless she has a mustache.
No, it
That's a
doesn't.
handsome
It's not.
mustache.
It's nothing but a compliment to say someone, male or female, is handsome.
Okay, I don't usually use that term for women, and I believe I would get slapped if I did.
I had a handsome dog once.
Yeah,
Very
no,
handsome.
this is not making your case, by the way.
Dogs
I
and
just
hamsters
want
can
you to
be
know,
handsome, yeah.
You are getting further from making your case.
So this Charlo Green woman who's hideous looking.
Reset.
She's hot.
No, she's beautiful. She's beautiful.
Oh, she's beautiful. Okay,
Yeah, she's
Well,
beautiful.
we're working on it.
On the outside, I don't know her. I don't know her personally, so I don't know if she's beautiful on the inside.
She's stoned on the inside.
Well, she's starting this club, right? Where you can go, I guess, smoke pot and talk about smoking pot. And all
Cannabis
that.
Club. It makes you a lot funnier, by the way, from Brian says.
The Kodiak Bar. That's where it is.
I'm looking at the picture on Glen's computer.
Yeah, what is it? Fifth Avenue.
Yeah, Fifth Avenue.
So the old Kodiak Bar. The landlord, whose last name is Odom. I don't know if that's the Odom Corporation people or not. But the landlord, there's 2 levels to the Kodak Bar. So on the bottom of the Kodak bar, this woman who described, and I just read the story last night. I'm doing this by memory, but it's some kind of sex thing where you can get tied up and people can have sex with you while you're tied up, and it's transgender, trans this, trans that, all these trans people. And so that's the bottom floor. So this woman in Charlo decided we'll go on this lease together. We get the bottom, you get the top.
What could possibly go wrong?
Well, it turns out Charlo, according to the woman who runs the sex club, just went nuts on her and started locking her out of the place and took a restraining order out. And so they had to call the police and then the fire department. And then they were apparently some of Charlo's people, the marijuana and pothead people, started urinating on the stairs that got down to the sex club people. And so the sex club people had to step over urine. And
this is not good. By the way, here's what this woman, I won't call her a lady which is
a lady?
No, actually, I don't think I can. Sarha Shubak, Miss World Leather, 2013.
Yep.
So
they came in third for that, by the way.
This is what Charlo you came in third?
I was third.
Well, no, Charlo's jealous. She got second.
This is what Charlo's attorney asserts about Miss Shubak, who is Miss Leather 2013.
Right.
That Miss Leather 2013 was stalking her and threatening sexual assault on Charlo Green.
Well, now
I don't think I've ever even heard anybody do anything like that.
Threaten sexual assault?
Yeah, that does sound ridiculous.
Is that not completely outrageous?
Hey, if you don't do it, I'm going to say I'm going to sexually
I mean, this is a woman who's threatening sexual assault on Charlo Green.
Now, you have to realize this woman wrote a big, long letter in the Anchorage Press first.
Oh.
So there's two sides to the story.
Okay.
So Charlo, she still hasn't really denied.
Yeah, her side is no comment.
Yeah, Charlo's the one who's really not commenting much. But anyway, the one thing that I thought was interesting is they asked the landlord, what are you going to do? She said, no comment. They said, are you going to evict Charlo? And she said, well, there is paperwork. So apparently
so we're in process here.
And now we also know that Charlo, at her former residence, the neighbor below her had to go to court because all of her pot was seeping down into his house with his kids, and he didn't want that. So she's got a problem with neighbors, clearly.
Yeah, man pot and sexual assault from other women.
Well, we don't know that that's true. Now, Brian, you said she was stoned at some place, or?
Yeah, I heard she was at this this thing at Coots, a comedy thing called the Marijuana-logs or something.
Marijuana-logs.
And
this is from the yeah.
Well, she admitted that she had just smoked it when she went up there.
Yeah.
But then she talked about this club, saying there was going to be a soft opening next week, whichever. I don't know what kind of club you can have though, without licenses. And...
So now I've heard that smoking marijuana makes you a lot smarter.
No, you did not hear.
I have heard that it makes life more interesting and that it is just great and that you feel much more healthy. Did she seem any of those things to you when she was talking?
No, I thought she seemed like a little girl, kind of stupid.
Giggly?
Yeah. Unfortunately, it didn't look good.
That's weird because that's not what I've heard, and I'm pretty sure I got some good sources on this, some of whom are on the show with us.
I never said that.
No, not you. That we had a couple of guests who were in here, and actually they had been smoking, and they said it actually makes them smarter.
And again, I want to make sure that everybody knows where I stand personally on marijuana. I smoked it once, but at the time, I thought it was crack. So I cannot be held responsible for smoking marijuana. When it's like have you ever had a Coke? Well, I had one once, but I thought I was drinking a Pepsi. So you can't really ever say I wanted a Coke or I tried to drink a Coke when I thought it was a Pepsi.
Guilt requires intent.
Exactly, and I would and I honestly thought it was crack. So I thought,
Well, I would think things like that. Every body is different. We used to use that term in the funeral industry. Every body is different.
Oh my Lord!
But everybody reacts different to any stimulation. Some people can pound a 6-pack of beer, and some people can have 2 and they go loopy.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't know. Maybe everyone is a little different in that area too.
And I didn't smoke crack. I want to make sure that people know that. I tried to.
He tried, but he
I
didn't
wanted
inhale.
to, but I did not. I thought I was.
All right.
So I shouldn't be held accountable for that either.
No.
Thanks for clarifying.
Dog the bounty hunter came and threw him in jail.
Hey, how much are we going to be on the hook here for Hunter Killer, which is going to be filmed in Whittier?
Tons of money.
Don't we have to pay like a lot of the salaries of the?
Well, I thought did that film thing go away?
Or did it go away? I wouldn't. Why would they come up here and film if pre-approved for an Alaska film subsidy in 2012?
Oh, so maybe it didn't go away.
I don't think they've all gone away.
Oh, some of them have.
I mean, they're still filming a lot of shows up here.
The beauty of the film subsidy program is it's so crystal clearly illustrated the hypocrisy of the left and Wielkowski and Guerra and Johnny Ellis, because they were all for competitive environment tax structure,
incentivizing through low taxes.
If it's the Hollywood industry, but not for the oil industry.
And it wasn't even low taxes, actually. I think they actually incentivized it to the tune of millions and millions and millions of dollars, where we basically were paying the salaries of a lot of people, a lot of stars who came up here.
They were so into incentivizing the Hollywood folk that you're right, it wasn't a tax cut because they pay no taxes. It is, we will give you cash if you come work here. But yet, to give the oil companies a tax break that would produce thousands of new jobs, they would never hear of it. That shows the hypocrisy.
And that is hypocrisy. People need to...
But it shows that they understand
yes,
the tax structure does indeed play a role in investment.
Do you think I would be a hypocrite if I applied for a film credit for the show here?
You know, I'll bet you could.
We're filming. I mean, it's
sure
like
are.
a reality show.
I'll bet you could.
There we go.
It's a subsidy, though. It's not a credit, tax credit.
Maybe we could upgrade the little cranes all over the table there.
We could do that. Get a big boom mic in here, take all these out.
NPR gets subsidized. Maybe we'd have to talk in English or British accents.
We'd talk about liberal
Hello.
stuff.
Yes. It's time to Alaskans to change the way we vote.
Tea time with Dan.
All the good things that can happen. Who do you think is going to win the war for who owns the North Pole? Because I think it's Santa Claus, but apparently Denmark is on board. Russia's going to fight over it.
You know, I don't buy all that whole thing with Alex Rogoff and the seas melting, and it's going to be this huge resource. I don't buy it. I don't believe in it. I think the North Pole is a cold, desolate place that where, you know, polar bears live. And I just don't buy that that's the coming, you know,
that's
way.
where all the action's going to be.
I don't buy it.
I
Well,
want to build a bridge there.
They're still gonna claim it, and I don't know who's gonna. So it's
You know what?
Denmark
Give it to
versus Russia.
Give it to them. Flip a coin.
I think you're
Give it
right.
to 'em.
Yeah, let them go up
Go
there
ahead
and
and
develop.
develop.
It'd be great.
Yeah.
Probably be good for us.
Yeah. Go ahead and build your infrastructure up there. Have at it. Just a bunch of nonsense that global warming.
Well, you do have to worry. It sounds like Drudge is reporting that Putin is really starting to realize what a spot his country is in at $40 and $50 and $60 a barrel
His
oil.
currency just dropped dramatically yesterday.
Essentially.
Drudge, he had a very cryptic tweet over the weekend. It said, "Have an exit plan."
Yeah. Well, good for him invading countries like that.
Yeah, well, he's getting his now, and you find out how much more powerful currency is than weaponry these days.
Tomorrow, Friday edition of the Fagan Biegel Show. Hope you'll join us, 6 a.m. Have a great Thursday. 6 a.m. Have a great Thursday.